Chapter 328. The powerful Mohina did gin beneath the dark clouds. Yao Tianshang held a huge saber in his hand and flew into the sky with a group of demons. Demonic beasts with weak cultivations were carried by the greater demonic beasts. They flew out of the black cloud domain. After leaving the dark clouds, the demons turned around and saw countless ghosts flying around. "Another strong person is coming," King Spider exclaimed. He flew towards Yao Tianshang. "Master, the seal has just been opened. Why are you leaving so early?" King Spider asked in confusion. "Another strong person is coming," Yao Tianshang said in a low voice. "The feng shui master who summoned the ghosts. No, he will appear soon. I don't have the ability to compete with him now, but one day I will surpass him," Yao Tianshang said coldly. "Yes. Moreover, I have enough power with this demon slayer. Even with my current strength, I can still suppress it." Yao Tianshang laughed. "Demon slayer? My lord, this is clearly targeting us demons. It will cause more harm to us demons. Why does Master care so much about this saber?" King Spider asked in confusion. "Have you forgotten my great wish?" Yao Tianshang said in a low voice. Since I, Yao Tianshang, am a demon, I will also become the ruler of all demons. I will build a vast demon country and let all the demons in the world worship me. This demon slayer saber will be the foundation of all demons," Yao Tianshang shouted. "Yes," the group of demons replied respectfully. Yin Chuan was underground. Screech. Boom! The Jade Emperor's sword slashed at the incoming ghosts again and again. As he fled outside, more and more ghosts appeared. Gently, he placed the sleeping kittens in his clothes. Yin Chuan tried his best to break out of the encirclement. He did not go to the surface. Instead, he ran underground, getting further and further away from the original tomb. Buzz! Suddenly, a ghost in a black robe blocked in front of Yin Chuan. Another zombie. Yin Chuan's face darkened. He slashed with the Jade Emperor sword again. Boom! The zombie retreated slightly. However, he was not killed. Instead, he once again charged towards Yin Chuan. Copper corpse. His face darkened. Not wanting to tangle with the copper corpse, Yin Chuan quickly ran towards the outside world. However, the copper corpse seemed to have locked onto Yin Chuan and quickly chased after Yin Chuan. The copper corpse was a high-level ghost. Wherever the copper corpse passed, the number of low-level ghosts decreased. He chased after them, and soon they were far away. Humph! Yin Chuan snorted coldly and turned around to face the unforgiving copper corpse. With a slight lift of his left sleeve, the poisonous vine seed on his wrist was revealed. The seed was growing bigger and bigger. Swish! A bunch of vines quickly emerged and instantly wrapped around one of the copper corpse's arms. Swish! Swish! A large number of vines emerged and constantly wrapped around the bronze corpse's body, arms, legs, head, and waist. In the blink of an eye, the bronze corpse was wrapped up like a seed. The vines were still very weak at the moment, but there were too many of them. The copper corpse could not break free for a while. The copper corpse kept twisting its body, trying to break free. However, it could not break free. "Keep tormenting you," Yin Chuan said disdainfully. Roar! Vaguely, Yin Chuan heard the sound of Qing Wan. Yin Chuan, who was about to continue escaping, suddenly stopped. "Qing Wan? Zhenrou?" Without hesitation, Yin Chuan quickly floated to the surface. Half of his body emerged from a valley and looked into the distance. Chapter 329. In the distance, at the center of the tomb, the world was pitch black, and countless ghosts danced about. Bone dragons circled about, roaring as their vast auras spread out in all directions. Guyu Holy Sun and his subordinates struggled to fend off more and more ghosts. Bastard! 10 bone dragons surrounded Guyu Holy Sun. Each of them breathed out a dark blue aura that formed a giant dome, trapping Guyu Holy Sun in the center. The ghostly aura couldn't harm Guyu Holy Sun, but Guyu Holy Sun was still trapped. Guyu Holy Sun's expression was ugly, and so were the others. In the middle of the ghosts, Giant Qingwan, pulled a carriage. The carriage was also surrounded by a large number of bone dragons. However, the 10 men on the carriage swung their fists and sent the bone dragons flying. The ghosts couldn't get close. The Qingwan carriage floated in the air. A woman in white slowly stepped out of the carriage and stood in the air, looking down at the tomb. 100 skeletons slowly flew out of the tomb, carrying a giant sky-burying coffin. "Bastard, that's mine!" Guyu Holy Sun roared. However, there were too many ghosts. Guyu Holy Sun's subordinates could only protect themselves. As far as the eye could see, there was no end to the number of ghosts. There was no telling when this would end. The bone dragons circled and the ghosts swarmed. The sky-burying coffin was quickly carried to a mountain peak not far from where Yin Chuan was. At this moment, Yin Chuan realized that there was a man in a black robe standing at the peak of the mountain. His black robe was embroidered with faint clouds. It really is Feng Yinyang. Is the Feng Shui formation so powerful? Yin Chuan's eyes flashed, but soon he looked at the woman in white on the Qingwan carriage. Yin Chuan frowned deeply. At this moment, Yin Chuan couldn't leave at all. Yin Chuan would be fine if he was underground, but once he was above ground, he would have to face millions of ghost demons. Millions of ghost demons were like the heavens themselves. There was no way for Yin Chuan to return. Bastard, bastard. In the distance, Guyu Holy Sun smashed a bone dragon with his fist. However, there were 3 more bone dragons surrounding him. Guyu Holy Sun could not free himself. His expression was extremely ugly. On the mountain peak, Feng Yinyang let out a faint laugh. "I've finally found the heaven-burying coffin." Feng Yinyang sighed. The heaven-burying coffin was slowly brought over. The surroundings were pitch black, and yin and yang were inverted. This was Feng Yinyang's world, and Feng Yinyang was the ruler here. Just as Feng Yinyang was looking at the approaching heaven-burying coffin with satisfaction. Hong! The dark clouds in the sky suddenly let out a deafening sound. Ka-ka-ka-ka. The thick dark clouds in the sky suddenly cracked, and rays of golden light shot out from the cracks. Hong! Another deafening sound came from the Immortal graveyard. A huge hole was created in the dark clouds by a powerful force. Golden light shone down from the hole, and it was extremely dazzling. Through the hole, one could see a vast sun above the dark clouds. The condensed sunlight formed a huge pillar that shot straight through the hole in the dark clouds. Wherever the golden light passed, the ghosts and devils fled in all directions in pain. A pillar of sunlight broke through the dark clouds. "Father," Guyu Holy Sun said with joy. Rumble. A figure in a golden Taoist robe slowly descended from the golden light pillar. The man in the Taoist robe was golden all over. On his back, there was a huge wheel that looked like a sun behind his head. Virtuous wheel? Is this the virtuous Dharma idol? A clone? Yin Chuan's expression changed. Taking a closer look, the man in the Taoist robe did seem to be both real and illusory. Moreover, his face couldn't be seen clearly, and there was only a majestic aura. The moment the man in the Taoist robe appeared, a terrifying aura was released. Ka-ka-ka-ka. Under this powerful aura, countless ghost demons knelt down in fear, as if they were afraid of an expert who was releasing this aura. Even though they were far away, Yin Chuan's expression darkened. "This aura is almost on par with my previous life," Yin Chuan said in surprise. Wherever the man in the Taoist robe went, the ghost demons all retreated. "Greetings, Mohina Dojin." On the Qingwan carriage, the lady in white bowed slightly. The man in the Taoist robe looked at the Qingwan carriage. "So it's you, little girl. Why have you come to my east?" Mohina Dojin said calmly. "I've deduced that there is something I need here. I'm here to fight for it." The lady in white said quietly. "Oh." Mohina Dojin was puzzled. "It should still be down there, that round plate," the lady in white said. As she spoke, she waved her hand, and the crystal round plate that was originally 100 feet underground suddenly floated up. The round plate was extremely transparent, but there were small white dragons circling around it like airflow. "What is this?" Mohina Dojin asked. "The heavenly divination plate," It's only useful in our hands. Mohina Dojin has accumulated good karma, so he naturally doesn't need it. The lady in white said softly. Doesn't need it? I can't give it to you even if I don't need it. Guyu Holy Sun shouted. Shut up. Mohina Dojin shouted coldly. F.A. Father. Guyu Holy Sun said in shock. Mohina Dojin looked around, then looked at the sky-burying coffin in the distance. The black-robed Feng Yinyang was extremely anxious at this moment. Tens of thousands of ghosts and demons rushed towards the sky-burying coffin. Around the sky-burying coffin, the yin qi suddenly increased by more than 100 times. The rolling yin qi gradually formed a pitch-black hole under the sky-burying coffin, and it was about to pull the sky-burying coffin into the hole, opening the door to the netherworld. Oomph. Mohina Dojin's Dharma power stepped down slightly. Rumble. It was as if the infinite power of the sun was being pulled down and poured into the ground by Mohina Dojin's Dharma power. Boom! With Mohina Dojin's feet as the center, the ground instantly turned red. Splash! The original ground turned into rolling lava in the blink of an eye, and a vast lava pool was formed. Wherever the lava passed, ghosts and demons were annihilated in pain. The lava pool expanded rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, it reached the sky-burying coffin. At the sky-burying coffin, the door to the netherworld that was opened by the infinite yin qi was instantly destroyed by the extreme yang qi. Ah! Woo-woo-woo! Ow! Tuh! The ghostly creatures wailed as they were incinerated into nothingness. The powerful Tao monarch Black Sun destroyed Feng Yinyang's plan with just a single stomp. No! Feng Yinyang was anxious. He immediately rushed forward and charged at the sky-burying coffin. Oomph! Mohina Dojin snorted. Roar! Inside the magma, a flame dragon suddenly roared out, smashing ruthlessly towards Feng Yinyang. Boom! Although Feng Yinyang's feng shui was powerful, his cultivation was far inferior to Mohina Dojin's. The flaming dragon charged and sent Feng Yinyang flying backward, crashing into a mountain. Boom! The towering mountain collapsed in an instant. Feng Yinyang was buried alive in the blink of an eye. Chapter 330. Boom! Rubble flew everywhere as a large number of rocks rolled down and buried Feng Yinyang. Feng Yinyang spat out a mouthful of blood. Mohina Dojin was one of the top figures in the world. Even if it was just an avatar, it was still extremely powerful. Although Feng Yinyang's feng shui was strong, he was powerless in the face of absolute power. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Feng Yinyang smiled bitterly as he looked at the falling rocks. The sky-burying coffin, just a little bit more. In the outside world, the lava continued to spread in all directions and rushed toward the broken mountain where Feng Yinyang was. Yang energy soared into the sky, and Feng Yinyang had nowhere to run. After all, it was impossible to open the door to the netherworld with yang energy. Not far away, Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes. He took a deep breath. Instantly, he dived into the ground. Rubble flew everywhere, and Feng Yinyang could already feel the heat waves from afar. Mohina Dojin? Is he trying to kill us all? Feng Yinyang said bitterly. Propping himself up, Feng Yinyang prepared to break through the rubble and escape. Although the chances of escaping were slim, he still had to try. Swoosh! Suddenly, a vine wrapped around Feng Yinyang. Feng Yinyang was slightly surprised. Swoosh! Feng Yinyang was instantly pulled into the ground. It's you. Feng Yinyang looked at the person in front of him in surprise. It was Yin Chuan. Earth Escape Talisman. You actually have an Earth Escape Talisman. Feng Yinyang exclaimed. This is not the place to talk. Yin Chuan shouted. As he spoke, the light of the Earth Escape Talisman enveloped the two of them, and they were about to escape. Just as they were about to leave, Yin Chuan's expression changed. Swoosh! Not far away, the copper corpse that had just been bound by the vines was pulled over. Boom! The copper corpse was kicked out. Yin Chuan carried the heavily injured Feng Yinyang and quickly fled into the distance. Behind them was a surging heat wave. The two of them sped up again and again. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, the place where Feng Yinyang had been buried alive had been melted by the boiling lava. Roar. The black-robed, copper corpse floated to the surface of the magma. It struggled in pain for a while before it was quickly incinerated. Oomph. Guyu Holy Sun snorted coldly from afar. Obviously, he thought that the bronze corpse was Feng Yinyang. Feng Yinyang was also dead. Zhang Xian stretched out his hand, and the heaven-burying coffin flew over. Father, Guyu said solemnly. Lie. The lid of the coffin immediately opened, revealing the massive corpse of a white tiger. Mohina Dojin checked for a while and waved his sleeves. Bang! The corpse of the white tiger was immediately incinerated and turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. There's only one corpse? Guyu frowned. This is an ancient corpse. After countless years, the corpse has been eroded. However, this coffin is not bad. You can keep it. Mohina Dojin said indifferently. Yes, thank you, Father, Guyu said respectfully. Guyu looked at the other transparent disc, the heaven-projecting disc. Father, this heaven-projecting disc, you must, Guyu said expectantly. Mohina Dojin did not look at Guyu. Instead, he looked at the white-clothed lady who was pulling the blue wand. Lass, take this heaven-projecting disc back, Mohina Dojin said indifferently. F.A. Father, Guyu said in surprise. Mohina Dojin glanced at Guyu indifferently and ignored him. Thank you, Mohina Dojin, the white-clothed lady said solemnly. She pinched her fingers slightly, and a white light suddenly shot onto the heaven-projecting disc. The heaven-projecting disc rotated slowly, and overlapping patterns appeared in the surrounding void. Then, the heaven-projecting disc gradually shrank until it was the size of a palm and landed on the white-clothed lady's palm. Chapter 331. Mohina Dojin, thank you for your help. I'll take my leave now, the lady in white said solemnly. Mohina Dojin nodded. Screech, screech. The two blue wands let out a long screech and pulled the carriage of people toward the north, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The dark clouds in the sky slowly dispersed. Feng Yinyang's array was finally broken. Lava was boiling on the ground, and flames were soaring into the sky. Father, why did you get it to her? Guyu was still unwilling to give up. I don't need you to teach me how to do things, Mohina Dojin said lightly. Yes, Guyu replied. You've disappointed me in the Demon Wind Mountains, Mohina Dojin said again. Yes, I'll continue to work hard, Guyu said with an ugly expression. Don't disturb me if there's nothing else. Also, I only injured the geomancer from before. He's not dead, Mohina Dojin said lightly. Guyu's expression changed. Mohina Dojin looked at the people around him and ignored them. Instead, he looked at the sun in the sky. Boom! Following the pillar of the sun, Tao Monarch Black Sun's Dharma idol soared into the sky and instantly disappeared. The sun's light pillar also disappeared. Farewell, Father. Farewell, Mohina Dojin. Guyu led his subordinates and bowed respectfully to the heavenly Tao. Tao Lord Black Sun left, leaving behind a complicated expression on the faces of those who remained behind. Guyu's expression was extremely ugly. After working so hard for so long, he received such an evaluation from his father. Holy Sun, a man in purple shouted, find that black-robed geomancer. I want to see him if he's alive or dead. Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Yes. Yan Chuan quickly carried the heavily injured Feng Yinyang through the underground. His speed was extremely fast, but after 6 hours, the surrounding light was much dimmer. Yan Chuan knew that the power of the Earth Escape Talisman was about to be exhausted. If it wasn't for the fact that there was one more person, it could still hold on for a while. However, even so, it was enough. Bang! The two of them broke through the ground. It was the foot of a mountain. Leaning against a big tree, the two rested for a while. Feng Yinyang flipped his hand and took out a pill bottle. He poured out a few pills and swallowed them. Yan Chuan also waited patiently for a while. Looking at the distant sky, Yan Chuan sighed. Previously, from Mohina Dojin's tone towards the woman in white, Yin Chuan could tell that Mohina Dojin would definitely not make things difficult for the woman in white. At this moment, several hours had already passed. Thick smoke billowed from the horizon. It was clear that everything was over. He saw Jinro again. Although she did not say a word, seeing Jinro was enough. For years later, Julu Academy, the Heavenly Bestowal Conference? Yin Chuan frowned as he memorized the date. For years later, the woman in white was going. Yin Chuan was definitely going too. They were too similar. They were exactly the same. Yin Chuan even suspected that Jinro had reincarnated. Hence, he had to find out the reason. Who? Feng Yinyang suddenly exhaled deeply and woke up from his meditation. He turned to look at Yin Chuan. I didn't expect that I would be saved by you. This time, thank you very much. Feng Yinyang said solemnly. What do you plan to do next? Yin Chuan asked. Nodding, Feng Yinyang said, I'll leave immediately. This time, I did come to the east to do something important. After everything is done, I'll thank you properly. So urgent? Aren't you going to rest for a while? Yin Chuan frowned. No need. We'll meet again, Feng Yinyang said solemnly. Chapter 332. All right, Yin Chuan nodded. With that, Feng Yinyang took a step and shot into the distance. In the blink of an eye, Feng Yinyang disappeared. Seeing Feng Yinyang leave, Yin Chuan smiled slightly. Feng Shui Master? Feng Shui Masters are indispensable in my country. It seems that my chips are really not enough. However, there will be a day when it will be enough, Feng Yinyang. Yin Chuan smiled as he looked at Feng Yinyang leaving in the distance. Climbing to the top of a mountain, Yin Chuan looked around. It seems that I didn't go the wrong way. This is the way I came. Yin Chuan quickly recognized the terrain. Swish! Yin Chuan took a step forward and shot off into the distance. A few days later, under a huge waterfall. The waterfall was connected to the Black Dragon Pool. In the pool under the waterfall, Yin Chuan was washing himself. Beside him was a little white cat who was paddling in pain. I hate water. I hate it. The little cat shouted angrily. Hey, look at how dirty your body is. Your whole body is covered in blood. If I didn't help you wash, would you be like this now? Yin Chuan laughed. My whole body is covered in blood. The little white cat looked at herself. Then, she quickly dived into the pool. After a while, she came out with a bang. You actually took a bath with me? And you're so exposed? You public servant, I'll fight it out with you. The little cat pounced on Yin Chuan. Public servant. Yin Chuan's face stiffened. Pa 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 pa. The little white cat rushed in front of Yin Chuan and kept scratching Yin Chuan's body with her little claws. But the little cat was too small. Although she could strangely speak, her strength couldn't cut Yin Chuan's skin at all. I'll fight it out, scratch, scratch. The little cat kept scratching with her claws. It's so comfortable. And scratch below. Yin Chuan enjoyed it. Ayaya. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Kitten said impatiently. Although the kitten was manic, it looked extremely cute and adorable. Even if it was filled with murderous intent, it was impossible to get angry. All right. I'm a human and you're a demon. What does that have to do with anything? Yin Chuan smiled. Oomph. Kitten said angrily. By the way, why were you in the coffin that day? In that white tiger's stomach? Yin Chuan asked curiously. That day, the kitten seemed to have forgotten its anger. What happened that day? I don't remember. Kitten shook her head. You don't remember? Yin Chuan was slightly stunned. Of course, why do I remember that when I opened my eyes, I saw you? You big hooligan. Kitten said snappily. Big hooligan? Yin Chuan's face stiffened. I really don't remember. I only remember a few things. I don't seem to remember anything else. The kitten cried. Yin Chuan. Then why did you bite me? What's that clan contract? Yin Chuan frowned. I don't know. It was an instinctive reaction. What's the use of that clan contract? Kitten asked curiously. Yin Chuan was speechless. He rolled his eyes and didn't know what to say. By the way, do you have a name? Yin Chuan asked. Let me think. I think I have some memory. I think I'm called Meow. Kitten thought and said. Meow? It's indeed a kitten's name. Yin Chuan nodded. I'm not a cat. I'm a tiger. the king of all beasts. I'm a tiger, a tiger. Kitten snorted. A tiger? You? Yin Chuan didn't believe it. Kitten didn't even have the word king on her head. I'm a tiger. I must be a tiger. Kitten cried. Didn't you say you don't remember anything? I remember this. I forget everything. I definitely can't forget what I am. I'm a tiger. The biggest tiger. Kitten cried proudly. The biggest and biggest tiger? Looking at the palm-sized kitten acting cute, Yin Chuan didn't know if he should discourage her. Chapter 333. I remember this. I've forgotten everything, but I can't forget who I am. I'm a tiger, the biggest tiger. The kitten exclaimed proudly. The biggest and biggest tiger? Looking at the palm-sized kitten acting cute, Yin Chuan didn't know if he should discourage her. All right, tiger. Then what's up with the little felt hat on your head? You don't even want to take it off when you're washing your body? Let me see. Yin Chuan asked curiously. This is my baby. Don't even think about it. The kitten exclaimed. She looked nervous. Yin Chuan was just casually saying that. How could he snatch the hat from Kitten? Yin Chuan was about to say something when his face suddenly turned serious. Someone's coming. Pung. Carrying Meow. He jumped out of the water. Ah. Hooligan, what are you doing? The kitten exclaimed. Throwing the kitten onto a large rock, Yin Chuan quickly put on his clothes. As Yin Chuan was wearing his clothes behind a large rock, no one noticed Yin Chuan. Xiao, a figure landed at the edge of the lake. It was Dong Fong Zhengpai. Sigh. Standing at the edge of the lake, Dong Fong Zhengpai had a look of pity. My protective talisman, Dong Fong Zhengpai said sadly. Who's there? Dong Fong Zhengpai suddenly sent someone. Yin Chuan walked out slowly. Dong Fong Zhengpai rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Dong Fong Zhengpai, we meet again. Why are you here? Brother Yin, you're not dead? You're not dead? Fuck, you're still alive? Dong Fong Zhengpai exclaimed. Do you wish for me to die? Yin Chuan laughed. No, how could I? As long as you're alive, that's great. Dong Fong Zhengpai jumped over and laughed. He looked at Yin Chuan as if he was looking at a treasure, causing Yin Chuan to feel uncomfortable. In the eyes of Dong Fong Zhengpai, Yin Chuan is a protective talisman. As long as Yin Chuan is alive, after 4 years, Yin Chuan will give him a protective talisman. But if Yin Chuan is dead, Yin Chuan, there is no hope. I knew that Brother Yan's luck was as good as the heavens. Ha ha ha. Dong Fong Zhengpai laughed happily. I'm asking you, why are you here? Yin Chuan is. Wasn't it you were the one who told me this place is this place? You is you. As he spoke, he flipped his hand and took out a small bamboo scroll. Don't you remember? At that time, Gu Holy Sun said that those who enter the Zhu Immortal domain will be given an earth-grade cultivation technique. Those who find the entrance will be given a heaven-grade cultivation technique. That day, you were the one who found it. I asked him for it. Here you are. Dong Fong Zhengpai laughed. Spear Hard Arts? Yin Chuan took it. That Gu Yu is really stingy. I asked him for a long time before he gave me this. Spear Hard Arts, although it's a heaven-grade cultivation technique, you need to practice the spear. I don't practice the spear, so I'll give it to you. Dong Fong Zhengpai laughed. All right, thank you very much. Yin Chuan said with satisfaction. You're welcome. As long as you don't die in 4 years, it's enough. Hee hee. Dong Fong Zhengpai is very happy. Don't die in 4 years? Yin Chuan is puzzled. It's fine, it's fine. I'm just saying that I, Dong Fong Zhengpai, am a righteous person. This Spear Heart Arts is a reflection of my character. Dong Fong Zhengpai said shamelessly. Is Guyu Holy Sun still in the Demon Wind Mountain Range? Yin Chuan asked. Him? He left a long time ago, but his men stayed behind to look for a feng shui master in the Demon Wind Mountain Range. The reward is a heaven-grade cultivation technique. The Dazhao sacred ground is really rich. Dong Fong Zhengpai sighed. Chapter 334. Looking for a feng shui master? Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes. Obviously, he was looking for Feng Yinyang. Yes, I don't know if I can find him. Dong Fong Zhengpai shook his head. Meow jumped onto Yin Chuan's shoulder. Dong Fong Zhengpai was shocked. This is Dongfang Zhongpai's eyes lit up. Yin Chuan, where did you find this? My goodness, with this little cat, you will attract many girls. What a cute little cat. Dongfang Zhongpai's eyes lit up. Cat, your sister. Meow was furious. Eh. Dongfang Zhongpai's face froze. A talking cat? This little cat can talk. Dongfang Zhongpai exclaimed. You are the cat. Your whole family are cats. Meow was furious. Eh. Dongfang Zhongpai's face froze again. Meow is actually a tiger. Yin Chuan explained with a smile. After hearing Yin Chuan's explanation, Meow felt much better. Tiger, tiger? Dongfang Zhongpai pointed at Meow as if he had seen a ghost. How could there be such a small tiger? The size of a palm? Is this a tiger? Ignorant pervert. Meow raised her head proudly. Eh, pervert? Dongfang Zhongpai's face twitched. Meow, this is Dongfang Zhongpai. Yin Chuan introduced. Dongfang Zhongpai looked at the little cat and said in a magnetic voice, Meow, right? You've misunderstood me. Actually, as my name suggests, I'm definitely a role model for all men. Oof. Meow raised her head and ignored Dongfang Zhongpai. Dongfang Zhongpai's face froze. However, he was thick-skinned. He looked at Yin Chuan and said, Brother Yin, you have to help me. Oh, this kitten, no. This little tiger is so rare. Tell me, where did you find it? I want to find one too. Dongfang Zhongpai immediately shouted. You're looking too? Nonsense, with little kitten and little meow in our hands. Wouldn't we be friends with all women in the world? Dongfang Zhongpai said shamelessly. Yin Chuan had a strange expression on his face. In the end, he shook his head and said, I saw it in the Demon Wind mountain range. If you want to look for it, take your time. Oh, okay. I can't let others beat me to it. Brother Yin, many thanks. Dongfang Zhongpai hurriedly ran away. Seeing the Eastern Orthodox sect disappear in the blink of an eye, Yin Chuan was speechless. Yin Chuan, how do you know such a wretched man? Kitten looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. Yin Chuan smiled. All right, we're going to dive again. Be careful. Yin Chuan grabbed Meow and said, Going into the water again? I don't want to. Meow shouted anxiously. Can't you breathe through your pores? There's a passage below. We're out of the Demon Wind mountain range. Yin Chuan smiled. Why? Meow said anxiously. Because I don't want others to see me for the time being. Yin Chuan explained. I don't want to. Meow shouted anxiously. Plop. Yin Chuan grabbed Meow and jumped into the lake. Woo-woo. Meow whined unhappily. Beside the Black Dragon Lake, 3,000 members of the embroidered uniform army sat cross-legged. Hua Guang and Lu Jin looked worried. Will the king be okay? Hua Guang asked worriedly. Definitely not. The king will be fine. Lu Jin said confidently. The two waited patiently. Bang! Suddenly, the water in the lake surged. A voice came out of the water. Big bad guy, I hate water. Why did you take me underwater for so long? Ah! A young voice said angrily. Chapter 335. My king. It's my king. Lu Jin exclaimed. My king. Hua Guang exclaimed in surprise. The 3,000 soldiers were awakened and looked at Yin Chuan, who was walking ashore slowly. My king, you are finally back. It's good that you are fine. Lu Jin said happily. The First Legion has completed the mission. Hua Guang said excitedly. Long live my king. The soldiers of the embroidered uniform army shouted. Good. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Meow Meow, on the other hand, was looking at the group in confusion. My king, we uprooted the Life League and took everything out. We got a total of 5,000 upper-grade spirit stones and countless magical treasures and weapons. Hua Guang said excitedly. Spirit stones? Where are the spirit stones? Meow's eyes lit up. Huh. Hua Guang and Lu Jin looked at the kitten that Yin Chuan brought back with a strange expression. It can talk. The kitten can talk. Seeing Yin Chuan nodding, Lu Jin opened the spatial scroll. A large number of spirit stones were placed in the scroll. Ah. Meow said excitedly. She swung her head, and the felt hat on her head faced the spatial scroll. Collect. Meow shouted. Rumble. A large number of spirit stones flew toward the felt hat. Strangely, when they reached the mouth of the felt hat, they suddenly became smaller. Ah! Lu Jin's expression changed. She quickly opened the spatial scroll. Bang! The spirit stones scattered on the ground, but they were quickly sucked into the felt hat. In the blink of an eye, only 1/5 of the spirit stones were left in the spatial scroll. Lu Jin's face was filled with pain. Meow put on the felt hat again. She hugged an upper-grade spirit stone and chewed it happily. Crunch! Crunch! Soon, Meow finished the entire top-grade spirit stone as if she was eating rice crust. After eating it, he took out another one from the small felt hat and began to chew on it excitedly. Hua Guang and Lu Jin were at a loss. What was going on? Yin Chuan also looked at Meow in surprise. Eat spirit stones? Your Majesty, this. Lu Jin looked at the kitten in confusion. It's a tiger called Meow. Yin Chuan explained. Tiger. The 3,000 soldiers were all at a loss. From now on, it will follow me. Keep the spirit stones. Yin Chuan laughed. Oh. Lu Jin was still in a daze. Stingy. Meow lay on Yin Chuan's shoulder and chewed on the spirit stones. Hua Guang practiced this skill well. Yin Chuan handed over a bamboo scroll. Spear heart skill. Hua Guang was surprised. Go and rest for a while. After I change my clothes, we will return to the dissect. Yin Chuan said. Yes, dissect. Yin Chuan led the army and slowly walked out of the forest. Many disciples of the dissect gathered around him. Peak Master Tian is back. Peak Master Tian is back. Blood Demon, another blood demon. Have you heard? Peak Master Tian killed 6,000 disciples of the Life League in one night in the Demon Wind Mountain Range. One person, just one person, and the others from Peak Master Tian uprooted the Life League. A large number of disciples of the dissect came out to watch. This time, it was completely different from the last time. Last time, they were not optimistic about this group of people. This time, many disciples were full of admiration. From now on, Peak Master Tian was officially recognized by the disciples of the dissect. Chapter 336. Dissect. Great River Hall. Feng Tairan, Duan Sanshu, and the 4 Peak Lords gathered. 5th stage of Essence Realm. Black Peak Lord Feng Tianyu looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Not long ago, Yin Chuan was still at the 2nd stage of Essence Realm. I had a small fortuitous encounter in Demon Wind Mountain Range. Yin Chuan smiled. Small fortuitous encounter? You've killed so many people. Gao Bufan sighed and smiled. Life League and dissect have a grudge. So what if I killed them? Mo Wu Hue said lightly. Although his tone was light, it was not difficult to hear his hatred for Life League. Sectmaster, are you feeling better? Yin Chuan looked at Feng Tairan. I'm almost there. Since Shu just woke up, it will take some time for me to recover. Feng Tairan smiled. Yin Chuan, thank you for your help in Demon Wind Mountain Range. Duan Sanshu said solemnly. They thought that there was no hope for them. Who would have thought that they could escape death because of Yin Chuan? You're welcome. Yin Chuan smiled. Do you have any plans for Tian Feng? Continue to go out and train? Feng Tairan asked doubtfully. Shaking his head, Yin Chuan smiled and said, That's why I'm looking for you. Oh, I heard that dissect has a share in Carefree City where ZZ is. Yin Chuan asked, Carefree City? Everyone was puzzled. Yes, it's a cultivator city that our 6 great sects established together. Our 6 great sects are in charge of Carefree City, and it's divided into 6 halls. Dissect occupies the Great River Hall of Carefree City. Every year, the city's tax revenue is divided into 6 portions. Our dissect takes 1 portion. Feng Tairan nodded. Establishing an immortal city for 100 sects to circulate resources and collect taxes to support their own sections. But a lower-level sect needs to establish an immortal city with others? Yin Chuan frowned. Feng Tairan smiled bitterly and said, Powerful inferior sects will naturally establish their own, and even have more than 1 immortal cultivator city. But the foundation of our dissect is too weak. Then who is in charge of Carefree City's Great River Hall? Yin Chuan asked doubtfully. For now, it's me. What? You want to host it? Feng Tairan asked doubtfully. Everyone looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. You can say that. Can I? Yin Chuan smiled. Everyone looked at Yin Chuan strangely. The 6 sects are in charge of the worry-free city, and the Life Moon Alliance is one of them. Now that the Life Moon Alliance has been uprooted, the resources under the Life Moon Alliance will naturally have to be redistributed. Since you've destroyed the Life Moon Alliance, it's best for you to handle this matter. Feng Tairan nodded. But, Yin Chuan, can you do it? Gao Bufan asked strangely. That's right, you want to deal with worry-free city. Aren't you going to focus on your cultivation? Don't you find it troublesome? Duan Sinshu was also puzzled. There was nothing much to manage in Carefree City. All he had to do was collect the taxes when the time came. Wouldn't he be distracted? No matter, I like trouble. Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Since that's the case, you can go. I'll send people to inform the other hall masters. All right, let Zhu Jianxing and the rest follow you. They can explain the situation in Worry-Free City to you. Feng Tairan said after some thought. All right. Yin Chuan nodded. After bidding farewell to everyone, Yin Chuan returned to Heavenly Peak. King of Hell's Hall. Hua Guang stood respectfully in front of Yin Chuan. Miao was listlessly sleeping on a chair at the side. How's the Spear Heart Sutra? Yin Chuan asked. I memorized it all and burned it. Hua Guang said solemnly. And what are you going to do next? Yin Chuan asked with a smile. The Spear Heart Sutra has a total of 10 levels. I will pass down the first and second levels. After that, according to the soldiers' comprehension and contribution, I will slowly teach them in the form of rewards. Hua Guang said. Chapter 337. Not bad, you've matured. Yin Chuan smiled. Thank you for your compliment, King. Hua Guang said excitedly. Go and teach them. Follow me tomorrow morning. There are still many things to do. Yin Chuan said with satisfaction. Yes. The next day, everyone from Tianfeng left. The disciples of Day Sect were confused. Tianfeng is weird. Yeah, they just came back 2 days ago and left again. What are they busy with? Aren't they cultivating? Everyone was discussing. Halfway up the Black Peak, Jiangnan frowned as he looked at the people leaving. His face was gloomy. 2 disciples of Day Sect were standing behind him. Senior brother, no. Martial uncle, I think, let's forget about it. Yin Chuan is too abnormal. One of them said with a complicated expression. Yeah, senior brother. The other person also persuaded. Jiangnan's face was gloomy. He said lightly, I know. Yin Chuan led the army to the west. After a day of traveling, they took a break. At the top of the mountain, Yin Chuan looked at the vast mountains and rivers. Zhu Jianxing and the 7 swordsmen stood behind Yin Chuan. Martial uncle, your subordinates are really amazing. They were so powerful when they annihilated the Life League. It was as if Hua Guang had set up a net, and the Life League's disciples jumped into it one by one. Zhu Jianxing praised. Yeah, we didn't do anything that day. The 3 swordsmen nodded. This is an army. Yin Chuan smiled. Martial uncle's army is really strong. Zhu Jianxing sighed. King, there's a battle ahead. Hua Guang ran from afar. Oh, judging from momentum, it should be 30 Qi State practitioners besieging a Qi State beast. Hua Guang reported. Let's go and take a look. Yin Chuan said immediately. Yes. Everyone quickly followed Yin Chuan to a mountain peak and looked down at the huge canyon below. Boom. Second brother, hurry up and shoot. Attack together, quick. Whirlwind strike. 30 elite realm Shoujo were surrounding a 3-zhong tall black wild boar. The wild boar had sharp fangs, and when it swung its fangs, it could draw a stream of light. As he stepped on the ground, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. One stomp could kill a Shoujo. Its skin was thick to begin with, and it was in the Qi realm. The group of Qi realm Shoujo could not break through the Yao Pig's defense. Many Shoujo were seriously injured, and 2 had died. The battle was extremely tragic. Big brother, let's not take on this mission. There are many smaller missions in the Worry-Free City. There's no need to die here. Lao Jiao and Lao Shi were killed by this bastard. Avenge Lao Jiao and Lao Shi. Everyone roared, grieved, and fought. After killing for so long, the wild boar only lost one of its eyes, but the wild boar was even more irritable. It rampaged and knocked around, causing many Xiuzha to fall to the ground. People from the worry-free city? Huaguang, gather the troops and kill the boar demon. Yin Chuan said. Yes, Huaguang replied. With a wave of his hand, 1,000 members of the embroidered army quickly moved forward and took their positions. Release, Huaguang ordered. Boom! 1,000 shooting sun arrows shot towards the wild boar demon in the canyon like a meteor shower. Roar! The wild boar roared in shock. It raised a chi wall in fear. Boom! 1,000 shooting sun arrows, under the terrifying force, broke through the wild boar's defense. Chapter 338. TSS. TSS. The arrows pierced into the wild boar's body. Ayo, 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 ayo. The wild boar screamed in disbelief and fell to the ground instantly. In the canyon, the group of tragic practitioners who had been killing the wild boar were all stunned. The wild boar demon, who had worked so hard to break its defense, was killed in seconds. Everyone was shocked and looked up at the mountain at the same time. But when they saw Yin Chuan and the others, their faces darkened. Everyone, what's the meaning of this? One of them was worried. After all, the other party had thousands of people. They only had more than 20 left. How could they compete with them? Were they here to rob the wild boar demon? No way. Pick someone who is in charge. My king has something to ask. Huaguang shouted. The people below looked at each other. There was hesitation on their faces. On the mountain, Zhu Jiansheng and others looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. Martial uncle, why do you want to find them? Zhu Jiansheng asked curiously. Lu Jin took out a dragon chair for Yin Chuan to sit on. I have my own plans. Yin Chuan smiled slightly. Bang! Suddenly, a white light shot from Yin Chuan's dragon platform not far away. Meow! The white light fell on Yin Chuan's shoulder. What happened just now? A pig made a sound? Meow shouted excitedly. Hey, this cat can talk. Zhu Jiansheng and the 7 swordsmen suddenly widened their eyes. Cat? You said I'm a cat? Meow looked at the 8 people with a straight face. Did martial uncle prepare it for Miss Z? It's really cute. Zhu Jiansheng sighed. Cute your sister. I'm a tiger, a tiger. Meow said indignantly. Everyone's face stiffened slightly. Meow is indeed a tiger. Don't provoke her. Yin Chuan smiled slightly. Oh. The 8 people nodded strangely. That's more like it. Meow calmed down. All right, did a pig make a sound just now? There really is a big pig down there. Meow said in surprise. Aren't you always sleeping? Why did you suddenly wake up? Yin Chuan asked doubtfully. I like the sound of pigs being slaughtered. Why didn't you call me when it was so tragic? Meow said angrily. You like the sound of pigs being slaughtered? Yin Chuan asked in surprise. Yin Chuan was not the only one who was surprised. Everyone around him was also at a loss. A kitten that liked to hear the sound of pigs being slaughtered? At this moment, a red-robed man walked up from below. The man was led to Yin Chuan. I'm Mu Qianli. May I know why seniors are here? The burly man asked nervously. You don't have to worry. We're just passing by. By the way, we have something to ask you. Yin Chuan smiled. That wild boar demon. Mu Qianli said with some anticipation. I'll give it to you. Yin Chuan smiled. Many thanks, Senior. If Senior has any questions, Junior will answer them all. Mu Qianli said excitedly. I heard you guys say that you guys are from Worry-Free City? What order? And which sect are you guys from? Can you tell me? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Just these. Mu Qianli was surprised. Just these. Yin Chuan smiled. Many thanks for Senior's help. Senior's questions are not a secret. We are all people who make a living in Worry-Free City. Most of us are unaffiliated cultivators. Some are from small clans and small sections. Because our strength is weaker, we can only gather together. In Worry-Free City, we have a collective name. Mercenaries, Mu Qianli said bitterly. Mercenaries? Yin Chuan was puzzled. Yes. In Worry-Free City, we mercenaries accept orders from others. For example, we're looking for certain materials for alchemy or smithing. We help them find them, and they give us enough spirit stones. Cultivators need large amounts of resources to cultivate. It wasn't easy for us to reach the essence realm. Naturally, we have to work harder and earn more spirit stones to cultivate. Mu Qinli smiled bitterly. So unaffiliated cultivators are so poor. Huo Guang exclaimed. Mu Qinli smiled bitterly. Mortals often said that cultivators were free and unfettered. But how would mortals know that those free and unfettered cultivators were people who didn't want to improve themselves and just sat there waiting for death? For example, how many spirit stones can you earn in a month? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Us? There's no fixed amount. But on average, I can earn about 50 low-grade spirit stones. 20 for my own cultivation and 30 for my wife and son. Mu Qinli said proudly. Clearly, 50 low-grade spirit stones a month was a very successful number. Are there many mercenaries like you in Worry-Free City? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Many. How can there not be many? There are at least tens of thousands. Mu Qinli said with certainty. I know, many thanks. You can go now. Yin Chuan smiled. Yes, thank you, senior. Mu Qinli retreated down the mountain fearfully. At the foot of the mountain, the embroidered uniform army retrieved the shooting sun arrows from the wild boar demon and slowly retreated. Mu Qinli went down the mountain and asked the last embroidered uniform army soldier who was about to leave. Senior, may I ask who your king is? King? Our king is the Peak Lord of Deus Ex Heavenly Peak. The embroidered uniform army soldier said proudly and left a shocked Mu Qinli behind. Peak Lord of Heavenly Peak. Deus Ex? Yin Chuan? Mu Qinli muttered. The one who killed 6,000 Life League disciples in a night, Blood Devil Yin Chuan? Mu Qinli looked at Yin Chuan's army in shock. Chapter 339. At the peak of a mountain, Yin Chuan led the army to a stop. Almost all the soldiers were looking into the distance in shock. Far away, the sky was blue. Below them was a 100-zhang tall city wall that stretched endlessly. There were numerous runes floating on top of the city wall, as if it was some kind of array formation protecting the city wall. 100-zhang? Isn't that too exaggerated? In the mortal world, the city walls are at most 50 zhang tall. How can it be so tall? Is this a city wall? Huo Guang exclaimed in shock. 50 zhang? It's not even as big as some demonic beasts. How can it be used as a city wall? Zhu Jiansheng laughed. This wall can block demonic beasts. Speaking of which, even a high god realm expert can forget about breaking this wall. The Three Swords hero said proudly. How much effort is needed to build this wall? I can't even see the end of it. Huo Guang exclaimed. Idiot, don't you know how to find a feng shui master? Don't feng shui masters do this? Miao said with disdain. Huo Guang's face stiffened. Miao Miao is right. This worry-free city was actually formed by asking the feng shui master to bring the mountain range here, and then carefully processing it. At that time, the price paid to the feng shui master was not small. Jian Sheng explained. 100 zhang tall, you said that even a high god realm expert might not be able to break it. Can't they just fly over? Lu Jin was puzzled. 10% of the city is covered with countless array formations. There are countless array formations on top of the city walls and above the city. Even a high god realm expert would not be able to break through the city's defenses. If they want to enter the city, there is only one way, and that is through the city gates. Zhu Jiansheng explained. Indeed, there was a huge city gate in the distance. Above the gate were the words Worry-Free City. A large number of cultivators stood at the gate, inspecting the people entering and leaving. What's that? Huo Guang asked in confusion. Zhu Jiansheng said, this place is a treasure land. Originally, the qi of heaven and earth was abundant. Later, the feng shui master brought 5 large dragon veins here. The qi of heaven and earth is abnormally abundant. There are many practitioners living in the city. Some are from sects, some are from clans, and most of them are rogue practitioners. They have open medicine shops, magical treasure shops, and so on. There are nearly 1 million people here. 1 million cultivators? So many? Lu Jin was surprised. Haha, 1 million cultivators. This city is actually not that big. Let's not talk about those large-scale immortal cities. There are close to 300 mortal kingdoms around it, and close to 100 billion mortals. How many cultivators are there in this city? Zhu Jiansheng laughed. Hua Guang and Lu Jin fell silent. When the data came out, the two of them realized that their vision had been too narrow in the past. Let's go into the city, Yin Chuan said with a smile. Yes, Lu Jin and Hua Guang answered. Under the lead of Yin Chuan, 3,000 members of the embroidered uniform army stepped into the distant northern city gate. Even though it was an immortal city, thousands of people suddenly came. It was not a small number. The guards at the city gate were slightly surprised. However, with Zhu Jiansheng and the others stepping forward, everything went much smoother. The Day sect was one of the owners of the city. The guards at the city gate were also disciples of the Day sect. Therefore, they entered the city smoothly. Once they entered the city, there were countless mountains around them. The practitioners entered and ran in all directions. Some of the mountains were covered by clouds and mist. Some of them were shrouded in green light in the distance. Hua Guang and the others were already dazzled by the sight. Martial Uncle, the areas covered by clouds and mist are private territories in the city. There are formations protecting the mountains, similar to the houses of every family in a mortal city. Those areas covered by green light are public areas. There are streets, restaurants, and shops. It's actually not much different from a mortal world. Zhu Jiansheng explained. Chapter 340. Yin Chuan nodded. Under the lead of Zhu Jiansheng and the rest, the group quickly arrived at a forested area in the north of the city. The waterfall flowed rapidly, and there were many palaces on the mountain not far from the waterfall. The group arrived at the group of palaces. The scenery was beautiful, and they looked down from above. Main Palace, Great River Hall. There were many Day sect disciples in the surroundings. When they saw Zhu Jiansheng and Yin Chuan, they were extremely polite, and they glanced at Yin Chuan from time to time. Blood demon? That's Yin Chuan. Killing 6,000 people in one night, that's crazy. That's the peak lord of Heavenly Peak. The Day sect disciples discussed in low voices. Yin Chuan ignored them. Instead, he stood in front of the Great River Hall and looked around. This place was very high up. Standing in front of the Great River Hall, one could see endless mountains and rivers. In the distance, the green light shrouded the area. There were countless cultivators and many buildings. In the center are the shops. Zhu Jiansheng said. By the side, Hua Guang exclaimed in admiration. Just how big is this worryless city? Because cultivators like to occupy their own mountains. Even though there are millions of cultivators, the city is very big. It's about the size of a province in the mortal world. Zhu Jiansheng smiled. So big? Hua Guang exclaimed. Of course it's big. In the street in front, you can have whatever you want. As long as you have spirit stones. Zhu Jiansheng smiled. Yin Chuan looked at the Great River Hall behind him. Great River Hall. Hua Guang, get someone to change the signboard of the Great River Hall to King of Hell's Hall. Yin Chuan said indifferently. Yes. Hua Guang received the order and left. Tell me about the sect that controls Worry-Free City. Yin Chuan said. Yes, the first one is the Day sect. The second one is the Life League that was annihilated. The third one is the Demon Reigning sect. Actually, Martial Uncle knows the leader of the Demon Reigning sect, Zhu Jiansheng said with a smile. Oh, Zhu Jiansheng smiled and said, back in the mortal world, Uncle Master met King Mai in the Feng Shui formation. He is the sect master of the demon-controlling sect. Senior Mai came from the state of Zheng, which is close to the Yin state. When Uncle Master was in Beijing, Uncle Master took down 2 of King Mai's Qi state disciples. Do you still remember? King Mai. Yin Chuan's expression changed slightly. Yes, there are 3 other sections. They are the High Serenity sect, the Middle Serenity sect, and the Low Serenity sect. Zhu Jiansheng said. Oh, high serenity sect, middle serenity sect, and low serenity sect? Yinchuan narrowed his eyes. A light flashed in his eyes. I heard that the founders of these three sects were all disciples of a sect called the Serenity Sect. After the Serenity Sect was destroyed, the three of them started their own sections. The names are quite similar, and the three sects have a good relationship with each other. Zhu Jiansheng explained. My lord. Lu Jin frowned and said, Is it them? Yinchuan said lightly. Lu Jin took out a list. There are almost 100 sects on the list. That's right. These three sects were the ones that forced the old emperor to his death. Lu Jin said seriously. Zhu Jiansheng and the seven swordsmen's expressions changed. They smiled bitterly and said, That's right. These three sects were the ones that forced your father to his death. Yes. Yinchuan nodded lightly. Originally, Carefree City was divided into 6 parts. The 6 sects were each in charge of one part of the city. The Central Business District was under our joint jurisdiction. My Day sect was in charge of the Northern District. The 3 swordsmen said, Are they all lower-ranked sects? Yinchuan asked. No. In fact, our Day sect is the only legitimate lower-ranked sect. The Demon-Driving sect is just an ordinary sect. The other 3 are actually lower-ranked sects conferred by the Great Winged Heaven School. Zhu Jiansheng explained. Chapter 341. Is there a city lord? Yes, the sect leader of the Central Serenity sect, Zheng Hong, was elected by the 6 sections. He's an expert at the peak of the God realm. Zhu Jiansheng said. The Central Serenity sect, Zheng Hong? Yinchuan frowned. The Life League and the 3 Serenity sect were elected by the 4 sects, so he naturally became the city lord. Of course, Carefree City is divided into 6 parts, so even if he becomes the city lord, we won't lose much. Zhu Jiansheng said with a smile. I roughly know the situation in the city. Where's ZZ staying? Yinchuan asked. Miss Z? Marshal Uncle, you're going? Yes, I'll go and see her first. Then I'll send Marshal Uncle. Zhu Jiansheng said immediately. Okay, Huoguang, set up camp and let the soldiers rest. Yinchuan said to Huoguang, who was changing the plaque. Yes, Huoguang replied. At this moment, the main hall's plaque had been changed. King of Hell's Palace. Let's go. Not long after Yinchuan entered the city, the news quickly spread. In a large hall in Carefree City, a man in a luxurious robe sat on the main seat. It was King Yi, whom Yinchuan had met before. There were 7 or 8 cultivators standing in front of him, 3 of which were King Ye's disciples. Eldest senior brother, Dan Xingzi's expression was extremely ugly. Master, Yinchuan came just now, Dan Xingzi said with an ugly expression. He still remembered the feeling of being stepped on by Yinchuan. It was the shame of his life. Master, rumor has it that Yinchuan killed 6,000 disciples of the Life League in one night. Isn't that a little too exaggerated? Yes, Master. The last time I saw him, he was only in the strength realm. Dan Xingzi said. But it's true that the Life League was uprooted by Yinchuan. Moreover, King Yi said in a deep voice. Besides what? The low-tier disciples of the Life Alliance weren't the only ones who were killed. All of the Life Alliance's Divine Realm experts seem to have died. King Yimu said in a grim voice. The disciples. Master, what do you think we should do? Dan Xingzi was conflicted. Lu Gang, what do you think? King Wild took a sip of tea and looked at his youngest disciple. Lu Gang used to be a worshipper of the state of Zheng. Later on, King might have taken him in as a disciple in order to seize the army destroyer's will in the Feng Shui formation. He was the first to surrender to Yinchuan in the Battle of Yinjing. Disciple feels that we should wait and see. Perhaps there will be more changes. Lu Gang rubbed his bald head and smiled. Oh, King Yimu asked calmly. Although this disciple has only joined the sect for a short period of time, I know a little about the situation in Carefree City. The Life Moon League and the Triu sect have a close relationship. Once the Life Moon League is destroyed, the Triu sect might vent their anger on Yinchuan. They might even target Yinchuan. Lu Gang said respectfully. That's right. Continue. King Mai nodded. Now that the Life Moon League is destroyed, there will definitely be conflicts in the city. Master, why don't you let the Day sect and the Triu sect fight for it first? We can make our move when the situation is clear. Liu Gang said seriously. Good. Master didn't misjudge you. King Mai looked at Liu Gang with a smile. Master, of course. You already know everything. You're just testing me. Liu Gang immediately said humbly. You may leave, King Mai said with satisfaction. Yes. The disciples all left the hall. After leaving the hall, Liu Gang looked at Dan Qingzi and third senior brother curiously. Eldest senior brother, third senior brother, are you still planning to take revenge for Yan Chuan? Liu Gang asked. The two of them looked at each other, and their faces twitched. Revenge? Revenge my ass. Yan Chuan alone killed hundreds of Qi State cultivators. Wouldn't they be courting death if they went after him? Senior brothers, junior brother feels that there is no deep hatred between us and Yan Chuan. All of this can be resolved, Liu Gang said with a smile. Chapter 342. Carefree City on a small hilltop. Zhu Jiansheng, Yan Chuan, Lu Jin, and Miao were standing on the hilltop. Leaning on Yan Chuan's shoulder were Miao. Martial uncle, Miss Z is in the mountains in front. It's called Purple Heart Villa. Zhu Jiansheng pointed to a place not far away. Purple Heart Villa? Yan Chuan looked at the place not far away. Why is there no one living in the surrounding mountains? It's such a big area. Why is there no one? Is the terrain not good? Lu Jin asked curiously. Zhu Jiansheng smiled bitterly and said, the terrain is excellent and contains auspicious energy. It's a rare treasure land, but because Miss Z is here, so... Zhu Jiansheng did not finish his sentence, but everyone understood. They were afraid of Miss Z and did not dare to go near her. How do you know that Miss Z is here? Yan Chuan asked. Miss Z has a property in the downtown area of the city, but she rarely goes there. I heard that she lives in Purple Heart Villa all year round. She doesn't even bring any servants or maids with her. She lives alone. Zhu Jiansheng said. The surrounding clouds are very light. There doesn't seem to be any formation. Lu Jin asked curiously. Formation? Does Miss Z need a formation for her residence? Who dares to go there? Zhu Jiansheng asked curiously. Wait for me outside. I'll go in and take a look. Yan Chuan said. Outside? Lu Jin was worried. Zhu Jiansheng heaved a sigh of relief. Miao, you stay too. Yan Chuan said to his shoulder. No, I want to go. Miao suddenly shouted. What are you going to do? Yan Chuan frowned. You don't have to worry about me. Don't worry, I'll be by your side. I won't disturb you. Miao hugged a high-grade spirit stone and said, Crack, crack. As he chewed on the spirit stones, he looked at Yan Chuan with a gaze that seemed to say, I'm definitely going. All right, when the time comes, you stay at the side and don't mess around. Yan Chuan nodded. Yan Chuan took a step forward and headed deeper inside. Wallalala. As soon as he entered, he heard the sound of a waterfall. Following a clean path, Yan Chuan slowly walked towards a large waterfall. There was a deep pool under the waterfall, and there were a few simple houses on the shore. Not far from the house, there was a wooden sign with the words Purple Heart Villa carved on it. There was a relatively quiet lake beside the deep pool, and there was a long pier that extended into the middle of the lake. Yan Chuan could see at a glance that ZZ was sitting on the dock. ZZ was sitting alone on the dock, with a pair of shoes and a golden mask beside her. ZZ's feet were placed in the lake, and she was gently paddling. She was holding a red comb in her hand, and facing the reflection of the lake, she was gently combing her long hair. It was accompanied by a cool breeze and water vapor. Hum, 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 hum. Under the loud sound of the waterfall, ZZ's voice was faintly heard, as if she was humming some kind of moving music. It was very pleasant to the ears. Yan Chuan stood not far away, quietly watching. He watched ZZ's feet swaying in the lake, gently combing her hair and humming a tune by herself. Yan Chuan stood there for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, but ZZ's posture never changed. Crack, It's been so long. Why is she still combing her hair and humming? Meow was puzzled as she bit the spirit stone. You don't understand. Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with a trace of pity. What do you think? Meow asked curiously. This is a person's romance. Yin Chuan sighed slightly. Chapter 343. One person's romance? Meow? Meow really didn't understand. Who's there? ZZ seemed to have sensed someone approaching. ZZ put down the comb in a panic and quickly picked up a golden mask. After putting it on, she turned around. The moment she turned around, Yin Chuan saw ZZ's eyes turn purple. ZZ turned around angrily and saw Yin Chuan standing there quietly. The moment she saw Yin Chuan, her purple eyes revealed a trace of surprise and joy. The original anger dissipated, and her purple eyes slowly turned back to black. Meow looked at ZZ curiously. Looking at ZZ, Yin Chuan smiled. This smile made ZZ's mood instantly lighten up. She pulled her fair and delicate feet out of the lake and gently shook off the water stains. She put on her shoes and walked over. Yin Chuan, why are you here? ZZ's voice was filled with joy. Purple hair and purple clothes. Even with the golden mask, it couldn't hide her mature beauty. I just arrived at Carefree City and came to see you. Yin Chuan smiled. As he spoke, Yin Chuan walked forward again. Don't come over. ZZ instantly panicked and retreated. I said it's okay. Yin Chuan smiled. Don't. It's good to talk like this. ZZ shook her head. Meow, big hooligan. She didn't even let you go forward, and you still want to go forward. Are you going to violate her? Meow chewed on a spiritual stone and gloated. Yin Chuan's face darkened. He regretted bringing Meow along. Perhaps she was too focused on Yin Chuan, but ZZ seemed to have only noticed Meow now. This is your cat. So cute and can talk. ZZ's eyes were filled with affection. I'm not a cat. I said, I'm not a cat. Meow suddenly shouted. This was a matter of principle. Meow looked at ZZ angrily. ZZ looked at Meow in surprise. At the same time, a trace of embarrassment appeared on her face. This awkwardness was not because of Meow, but because of Yin Chuan. She's a tiger. Her name is Meow. She likes spirit stones. Yin Chuan immediately introduced. Did you hear that? I'm a tiger, a big tiger, meow meow. Meow bared its fangs and brandished its claws. Hearing Yin Chuan's explanation, ZZ immediately understood what he meant. With a faint smile, he walked into the room at the side. Soon, he came out with a box. Meow was still hostile towards ZZ. Meow, I made a mistake just now. In order to apologize to you, I'll give you a little toy. ZZ said with a smile. Little toy? ZZ said ungratefully. ZZ gently opened the box. Suddenly, a faint red light emerged from the box, emitting a mesmerizing color. In the box, there were 2 red gemstones. The gemstones were emitting a faint red light, which was exceptionally mesmerizing. Supreme-grade spirit stones? Yin Chuan said in surprise. Meow, meow, meow. Meow abandoned her principles in the blink of an eye and smiled as if she was trying to please ZZ. ZZ placed the small box on the stone table at the side and gently stepped back. These are 2 supreme-grade fire spirit stones. I'll give them to you as an apology, okay? ZZ smiled. Meow, meow, Sister ZZ is so beautiful. Meow immediately jumped off Yin Chuan's shoulder and jumped onto the stone table. She looked at the supreme-grade fire spirit stones with a mesmerizing expression. The big hooligan is in luck. Go and marry Sister ZZ. In the future, I'll have supreme-grade fire spirit stones every day. Meow hugged a supreme-grade fire spirit stone and said happily. Chapter 344. Meow was only the size of 2 fists, and a piece of top-grade spirit stone was the size of a fist. Meow was not content and seemed to want to hug the 2 of them together, which was very cute. Meow is so cute. ZZ smiled. Perhaps it was because ZZ was also very friendly to Meow. Yin Chuan stepped forward slightly, and ZZ retreated slightly. However, seeing Yin Chuan's determined eyes, ZZ's eyes moistened. She did not insist and allowed Yin Chuan to come within 2 feet of her. "Let's sit by the lake for a while more," Yin Chuan said. "Okay." ZZ nodded. The two walked back to the dock together. ZZ left a small red comb on the dock. Sitting beside the comb, Yin Chuan followed ZZ's example. He took off his shoes and put his feet in the lake. Sitting on the dock, he slightly stirred the lake water. Seeing Yin Chuan's actions, ZZ was touched. She did not know when it started, but she had hoped that there would be someone who would quietly accompany her like this. In the past, everyone avoided her. Now, there was finally someone who did not avoid her. Her husband? ZZ's eyes were filled with a sense of peaceful satisfaction. Just like Yin Chuan, she took off her shoes and put them in the water. Sitting by the lake, they sat quietly for a while. "I heard from Juji and Xing that you've been living here all these years. You don't go out much?" Yin Chuan asked softly. "Yes." ZZ nodded. "There's no one around here, not even a maid. Don't you feel lonely living here alone? Why don't you live in the downtown area? At least you can see a lot of people." Yin Chuan asked. ZZ bit her lips and was silent for a while. Finally, she shook her head and said, "I like being alone. It's quieter." "Really?" Yin Chuan asked. ZZ was silent and did not say anything. Taking a deep breath, Yin Chuan said softly, "Don't worry. With me here, you won't be lonely again." "Yes," ZZ said softly. The two of them just sat there like that. At this moment, silence spoke louder than words. 1,000 words and 10,000 words are not enough to sit together. Just as ZZ was feeling the warmth of his heart, suddenly, a red light fell from the sky and went straight into the center of the lake. Boom! The center of the lake exploded in all directions. Yes, Yin Chuan's expression changed. Someone was coming to attack. He was about to stand up. "It's someone I know. It's fine," ZZ immediately said. "Oh." Yin Chuan felt relieved. At the center of the lake, a woman in red was standing there. Her red robe was shaped like a Chong Sam, and it wrapped around her voluptuous figure. Her red hair was draped over her shoulders, and her exquisite face revealed a faint heroic spirit. Her clothes fluttered as she stood on the surface of the lake. She looked like a goddess in the water. It was extremely eye-catching. "Who are you? Why are you in the Purple Heart Mountain Villa?" The red-clothed woman immediately frowned and looked at Yin Chuan. "I am ZZ's husband." "Who are you?" Yin Chuan asked in a deep voice. "Husband? Yin Chuan? You are Yin Chuan?" The red-clothed woman was slightly surprised. "ZZ, is it because of him that you are unwilling to go back with me?" The red-clothed woman frowned and looked at ZZ. "Let me ask you, who are you?" Yin Chuan asked again. ZZ immediately looked at Yin Chuan and said, "Her name is Meng Hongying. She is my cousin." "Cousin? Meng Hongying?" Yin Chuan said in surprise. "ZZ has a cousin?" Yin Chuan looked at ZZ in surprise. In Yin Chuan's impression, ZZ was the only one. How could she have a cousin? "A month ago. I just found out." ZZ smiled bitterly. "So it's true?" Yin Chuan frowned. "It was mentioned in the letter that my father left me. My parents are from the Meng family, but they broke a taboo and were expelled from the family. They are not allowed to use the surname Meng," ZZ said bitterly. "Broke a taboo? Expelled from a family?" Yin Chuan was surprised. "My parents are cousins. Maybe it's retribution. They shouldn't be together, but they got together and gave birth to me. I cursed them to death," ZZ explained bitterly. Chapter 345. Yin Chuan fell silent after hearing ZZ's explanation. "ZZ, why are you telling him so much? I'm here to bring you back. Grandfather has forgiven your parents. Moreover, they are dead. Come back with me." Meng Hongying said. "Go back. What have you been doing all these years?" Yin Chuan's face darkened. If ZZ was alone, it would have been fine. But now they found out that there was a family behind ZZ. Since there was a family, why did this family ignore ZZ all these years? Me? Us? Do you think it's easy to bring ZZ's parents back? Grandpa has just become the head of the family and obtained the divine throne. If he had brought ZZ's parents back earlier, the elders in the family would have killed them. Grandpa is protecting ZZ's parents, Meng Hongying shouted. Oh. Yin Chuan's face softened. I've been investigating in Carefree City for the past few days. ZZ, you've been wronged all these years. Come back with me. No one will hate you when you're home. Everyone will respect you, and you'll have enough power. You can do whatever you want. Meng Hongying persuaded. ZZ shook her head and said, I think it's a good idea. Meng Hongying was stunned. What's so good about being hated by those ignorant people? If it were me, I would have gone crazy. Wait, is it because of him? Meng Hongying turned and looked at Yin Chuan, who was sitting beside ZZ. ZZ remained silent. She did not say anything, but she was sure of it. Meng Hongying stared at Yin Chuan and squinted her eyes. Level 5 Essence Realm? Yin Chuan, aren't you afraid of death? Meng Hongying asked. Death? Why would I die? Yin Chuan smiled. Don't you know about ZZ's curse? Anyone who dares to come close will be in trouble. Don't you know? Meng Hongying said. ZZ's expression froze, and a trace of impatience flashed in her eyes. She then took a deep breath and remained silent, as if she was waiting for Yin Chuan's answer. ZZ is my wife. Why can't I get close to her? Aren't I close now? Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Meng Hongying frowned. Indeed, Yin Chuan was right beside ZZ. Let me tell you, you're not worthy of ZZ. Don't you dare, Meng Hongying shouted. But halfway through, ZZ interrupted him. Meng Hongying, ZZ shouted. Meng Hongying was slightly surprised. That's my business. It's none of your business, ZZ said in a low voice. Meng Hongying looked at ZZ anxiously. ZZ, let me tell you, there are no good men in this world. He's just using you, Meng Hongying shouted. Enough, ZZ said angrily. All right, let's not talk about this. I have another question for Yin Chuan, Meng Hongying said anxiously. After all, they were cousins. ZZ did not object this time. Yin Chuan, I know about ZZ's curse. Those who do evil to ZZ will be cursed immediately. Those who do good to ZZ will also be cursed, but it will be weaker and will be delayed for a period of time. You're sitting beside ZZ, and I think you're trying to touch her. You're up to no good, Meng Hongying said coldly. So, Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Since you want to be ZZ's husband, do you dare to touch her? If you don't, then you must be up to something, Meng Hongying said coldly. Chapter 346. Meng Hongying. ZZ's eyes flashed with anger. Ulterior motives? ZZ is my wife. What am I after? What do you want from the Meng family? I didn't know anything about the Meng family before today. Besides, ZZ is my wife. Why should I be afraid? Yin Chuan said lightly. As she spoke, she grabbed the red comb at the side and grabbed ZZ's beautiful hair. Don't, ZZ cried out. It doesn't matter. I, Yin Chuan, am blessed with good fortune. I'm not afraid of curses. Let me comb your hair for you. Yin Chuan gently shook his head. Reaching out, Yin Chuan touched ZZ's beautiful purple hair. Grabbing the red comb, Yin Chuan gently combed ZZ's hair. As the comb brushed across her scalp and her hair, ZZ seemed to be stunned. I said it's fine. Yin Chuan smiled. ZZ's eyes immediately moistened. His eyes flashed with an indescribable emotion. How dare you? Meng Hongying was stunned. Rumble, rumble, rumble. All of a sudden, dark clouds gathered in the sky, rolling over and rumbling above Yin Chuan's head. The massive black cloud instantly covered Worry-Free City in darkness. You came. Here it comes. Endless thunder? Heaven's wrath. Meng Hongying looked at the sky in surprise. For a moment, countless cultivators in Worry-Free City raised their heads to look at the sky. They stared in shock at the dark clouds that suddenly gathered in the sky. What's going on? Was this the heavenly tribulation? Who is transcending the tribulation? What tribulation is this? 49 heavenly tribulations? So big? No, the 59 heavenly tribulation seems to be even greater. My God, how is this possible? All of the Xiozha in Carefree City looked at the sky in terror. Who? In all directions of the Worry-Free City, raging winds blew as though the end of the world had arrived. Countless people were terrified. Rumble. In the airspace above the worry-free city, a gigantic blue dome suddenly appeared, covering the top of the city, as though it was preparing to block the rolling tribulation clouds. How was that possible? The carefree city's array automatically defended itself? That means that only those who possess sufficient strength to destroy worry-free city will be able to do so. What tribulation is this? It can't be divine retribution, right? Countless Shioja were terrified. The rolling tribulation clouds were filled with a boundless aura of destruction. A large number of cultivators broke into a run in terror, fleeing out of worry-free city. It was too terrifying. Such a huge tribulation cloud. Purple Heart Villa. The sky was dark, and a fierce wind blew in the Purple Heart Mountain Villa. Almost everyone was stunned. Meng Hongying could sense that the tribulation clouds were targeting her. Yin Chuan? Were they targeting Yin Chuan? Divine retribution? Meng Hongying was stunned. This is too exaggerated. This cousin is too exaggerated. Divine retribution? Yin Chuan also stared blankly at the sky. It's just a small hairstyle. Is there a need to go so far? What kind of stance was this? What kind of stance was this? Why was it so similar to a mortal's tribulation? It was just combing her hair, just a small one. No, get out of the way. ZZ pushed Yin Chuan away in fear. The red comb fell to the ground. ZZ was so frightened that she started crying. She wasn't crying for herself, because she knew that no matter how big the tribulation was, she would be fine. It was because of Yin Chuan. Because Yin Chuan combed her hair, the divine retribution was here. The divine retribution was targeted at Yin Chuan. No, ZZ screamed at the sky. However, the divine retribution didn't stop. It seemed to be getting bigger and bigger, and the dark clouds were getting thicker. The thunder was getting louder and louder, as though the heavens were angry. Chapter 347. No, don't, ZZ said anxiously. Meow. Meow, who was sitting on the stone table not far away, immediately stood up. Meow let go of the supreme grade spirit stone in her hand and looked up at the sky. Meow. Meow. Meow roared at the sky. It was as if she wanted to use her aura to suppress the heavenly punishment, but she did not seem to have any aura at all. Meow. Meow quickly jumped onto Yin Chuan's shoulder. Meow. Meow. The last meow of the cat suddenly soared into the sky, piercing through the clouds and mist, and instantly rushed into the tribulation clouds. Meow. His meow echoed in the dark clouds. However, it was this cute meow that caused the angry tribulation clouds to slowly stop roaring. Rumble. Meow. 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 Amidst the meow, the raging tribulation clouds strangely retreated. More and more of them retreated. The city defense array of Carefree City also slowly dissipated. Countless cultivators of Carefree City looked up at the sky in confusion. What kind of joke is this? It's gone just like that? It's not the tribulation. Did the heavens recognize the wrong person? The cultivators were conflicted. This was toying with their emotions. The tribulation clouds retreated in the blink of an eye. More and more dark clouds dispersed. Gradually, they completely disappeared. The sky cleared up in the blink of an eye. Occasionally, two birds would fly by. It was as if everyone had just had a dream. Purple Heart Villa. As the ones who had experienced it personally, Yin Chuan, Meng Hongying, and ZZ felt it the most. They were about to explode, but a kitten's meow disappeared. Meng Hongying looked at Meow. This kitten? Meng Hongying's face stiffened. You're the kitten. Your whole family are kittens. Meow was angry again. Ugh. Meng Hongying choked on Meow's scolding. Yin Chuan looked at Meow with surprise in his eyes. It was an unexpected surprise. Fighting against the heavens? Where did Meow come from? It's too fierce. Yin Chuan had known that Meow would be extraordinary since he'd picked it up from the Immortal's tomb, but this was too extraordinary. Meow, thank you. I still have 3 top-grade spirit stones in the shop. I'll give them to you together, ZZ said excitedly. Meow. Meow squinted its eyes in excitement. Meng Hongying frowned and said, ZZ, this is Yin Chuan's luck. If you remove the mask, then... ZZ turned its head and looked at Meng Hongying coldly. Meng Hongying stopped talking when she saw the anger in ZZ's eyes. Meng Hongying, I only allowed you to stay because of your bloodline. You've already angered me. If you say anything bad about Yin Chuan again, I'll teach you a lesson, ZZ said coldly. Meng Hongying's face stiffened. Humph. Meng Hongying snorted at Yin Chuan. She swung her ribbon and flew into the sky. She flew away in the blink of an eye. Mask? Can I remove the mask? Yin Chuan asked curiously. ZZ shook her head and said, It's not that you can't remove it. The mask is used to suppress the curse. Once you remove it, the curse will be twice as strong. Then, Yin Chuan was interrupted by ZZ before he could say anything. I don't want to remove it. Don't remove it, okay? ZZ asked. Okay. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and nodded. One day, I'll remove the mask for you, Yin Chuan said seriously. Okay. ZZ's eyes flashed with satisfaction. But this time, you came close to me and even combed my hair. Although Miao has solved the heavenly tribulation, there might still be bad luck. There might still be, ZZ said worriedly. Chapter 348. Inside King Yimu's residence. City Lord Zheng Hong sent an invitation. King Yimu looked at the golden invitation in his hand in silence. A group of disciples stood in front of him. Master, is this a welcoming banquet for Yin Chuan? Lu Gang smiled. Yes, it's just as you thought. King Yimu nodded. Of course. When I was young, I also used this method. The territory controlled by the Life League is a fat piece of meat. The Triu sect is trying to force Yin Chuan to give up on this piece of meat. Lu Gang sneered. Force Yin Chuan to give up? Is that possible? Dan Qingzi frowned. Nothing is impossible. Didn't the Triu sect snatch the city lord's position in a fit of anger? Lu Gang sneered. Then will Yin Chuan give up? Dan Qingzi asked curiously. Probably not. Although I haven't interacted much with Yin Chuan, I know that he's not one to let himself be taken advantage of. Moreover, he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Let's watch them bite each other when the time comes. Lu Gang smiled. King Yimu looked at his new disciple, Lu Gang, with satisfaction. Originally, he only accepted Lu Gang as a disciple to make use of him. After all, Lu Gang's aptitude was too weak. But now, it seemed that this disciple was quite useful. All right, let's wait and see. King Yimu nodded. Noon of the second day. Yin Chuan brought ZZ, Huaguang, Lu Jin, Zhu Jiansheng, and the 7 swordsmen to the center of Carefree City. As for Miao, she was sleeping in the King of Hell's palace. They stood in a huge plaza and looked at the floating island a few hundred feet in the air. The island was surrounded by clouds and mist, making it look like a fairyland. Mountains can float in the air, Lu Jin exclaimed. This is called the floating island. There's only one in Carefree City. It costs a lot to build this island. There are countless arrays on it, and it's also the place with the most yuan qi in Carefree City. It's also the city lord's mansion. Zhu Jiansheng explained. In front of everyone, there was a man leading the way. Everyone, the city lord and the 3 hall masters are already waiting for you at the city lord's mansion. Please go up. The man who led the way said respectfully. Zhu Jiansheng. Yin Chuan said indifferently. Yes, Martial Uncle, don't worry. Zhu Jiansheng immediately shouted. Zhu Jiansheng and the 7 swordsmen suddenly emitted a powerful aura, which formed a wall of qi under their feet. The qi wall slowly lifted everyone up into the air. Clouds surrounded them as if they were stepping on a cloud. It slowly flew towards the floating island's city lord mansion. There were many palaces on the floating island. Laughter could be heard coming from the largest hall of the Ashoka Hall. Ah, he's here. Yin Chuan doesn't even know how to fly. He still needs Zhu Jiansheng and the others to carry him. Ha ha ha. Play the music, continue, ha. Phew. Yin Chuan and the rest finally reached the floating island. Standing on a huge platform, they looked at the surrounding clouds and the splendid palaces. From here, they could overlook the entire Carefree City. The view here is really wide, Huaguang exclaimed. Yin Chuan slowly walked towards the center of the Ashoka Hall. There were originally many guards around the Ashoka Hall. Each of them was arrogant, as if they were prepared to take Yin Chuan down a notch. However, when Yin Chuan approached, the guards were dumbfounded. This was because there was a lady beside Yin Chuan, a lady that none of the guards dared to offend, Miss Z. Why is Miss Z here too? Chapter 349. Why didn't anyone tell me that Miss Z is coming? That Jinx is here. Senior brother, what should we do? Do we still need to block them? Block my ass. Block them if you want. The guards quickly moved aside and looked at ZZ and Yin Chuan in horror. Juji and Sheng and the rest were pleased with themselves. When they got closer, they heard the sound of musical instruments coming from Ashoka Hall. Before they even entered, they could see women in gauze dancing. Oomph. ZZ snorted. She invited Yin Chuan to a banquet, but did not come out to greet him. Instead, she enjoyed herself. It was obvious that she wanted to embarrass Yin Chuan. ZZ was naturally uncomfortable. It's fine. Yin Chuan smiled. Yin Chuan was the first to step into the hall. The rest followed Yin Chuan into the hall. The singing and dancing continued. The people in the hall seemed to not see Yin Chuan and the rest, as they were intoxicated by the singing and dancing. Yin Chuan entered the hall and stood there quietly. Then, he took a look at everything in the hall. A man in a luxurious robe sat on the main seat in the north. Behind him stood a few subordinates. The one sitting on the main seat is the mayor, Zheng Hong. ZZ said, There were 2 rows of seats in the hall. There were 2 main seats in each row and a few secondary seats behind them. The one on the upper left is the High Serenity sect leader. The one on the upper right is the Low Serenity sect leader. The one on the lower left. ZZ explained. I know, King Mai. Yin Chuan smiled. The empty seats on the lower right should be ours. ZZ said. Yin Chuan nodded. Yin Chuan looked at the group of people. Everyone in the hall had noticed Yin Chuan as well. However, in order to embarrass Yin Chuan, no one said anything and pretended not to know. ZZ snorted and stepped forward. The group of dancers screamed and dodged. The dancers had naturally seen ZZ long ago, but they hadn't received any instructions. Now that they saw ZZ walking over, they naturally turned pale with fright and hurriedly dodged. With this dodge, everyone could no longer keep up the act. Haha, so it's Day Sec's peak, Master Tion. Apologies for not going out to meet you. Forgive me. Zheng Hong stood up and said with a smile. Yin Chuan smiled and said, I'll pardon you. Zheng Hong's face stiffened. Forgive me, I was just being polite. Do you really want to take advantage of me? Pardon me? So Miss Z is here too. Zheng Hong immediately turned his gaze to ZZ. Seeing that Zheng Hong deliberately ignored him again, Yin Chuan also smiled slightly and walked naturally to the empty seat at the side. ZZ followed beside Yin Chuan, while Juji and Sheng and the others walked to the second seat behind Yin Chuan. Zheng Hong asked for a snub, his expression extremely unsightly. Mayor, since you've invited me, I'll sit. Yin Chuan smiled and looked at Zheng Hong. Sit. Zheng Hong's face darkened. With a wave of his robe, Yin Chuan and ZZ sat in the main seats, while Juji and Sheng and the others sat in the second seat. Zheng Hong took a deep breath and slowly sat down. The faces of the sect leaders of the Yu sect also darkened. Only King Mai, who was sitting opposite Yin Chuan, looked indifferent. He drank his wine with surprise in his eyes. Yin Chuan is really bold and arrogant. Dan Qingzi whispered to his junior brothers. Yes, Master said that he's only at LV 5 Essence State. Isn't he courting death by provoking the mayor like this? Who asked him to bring Miss Z with him? Who dares to touch him? But I don't know why Miss Z is here. Chapter 350. Whispers could be heard all around. Yin Chuan, may I know why Miss Z is traveling with you? Zheng Hong looked at Yin Chuan and asked. Everyone fell silent. ZZ is my wife. You didn't say on the invitation that I can't bring a family member, did you? Yin Chuan smiled. Everyone's expression changed. Wife. Yin Chuan's wife? How could this be? Everyone looked at Yin Chuan in shock. It was as if they had seen the most ridiculous thing in the world. Who would want this jinx? Ha 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 ha. So it's Mrs. Yin. Congratulations. Zheng Hong raised his cup and laughed. ZZ felt a wave of comfort in her heart. After all, Yin Chuan said it in front of so many people. She raised her cup and returned Zheng Hong's toast. Yin Chuan, this is your first visit to Carefree City. It's only right for us 4 temple masters to hold a welcoming feast for you. Come, let's toast Yin Chuan. Zheng Hong smiled. That's right. Good. The temple masters raised their cups. Yin Chuan smiled and raised his cup. If it's just a welcoming feast, then I, Yin Chuan, thank you very much. With that, everyone ended the toast. Haha. I've long heard that the Dace Sect's Peak Lord Tian is a young hero. During the battle of the demonic Wind Mountain Range, he single-handedly killed 6,000 Life Moon League disciples. Your name has spread far and wide. Zheng Hong laughed. City Lord is too polite. 6,000 elite realm cultivators. If City Lord wanted to kill them, wouldn't he be able to kill them with a flip of his hand? Yin Chuan smiled faintly. I've also heard that the Life Moon League was uprooted by your people. Zheng Hong chuckled. It's just luck. Yin Chuan smiled. Speaking of which, this Carefree City still has 1/6 of the Life Moon League's assets. Now that the Life Moon League has been uprooted, this assets will naturally be divided among the 5 sections. What do you think? Zheng Hong smiled. Sure enough, after 2 cups of wine, the real highlight of the show began. Whether it was King Yimu or the Temple Masters, all of them looked at Yin Chuan with rapt attention. Redistribution? City Lord's idea is good, but it is not easy to divide equally. What about the contracts that the Life Moon League and the city's cultivators made in the past? Yin Chuan said with a smile. Average? Yin Chuan was willing to share that territory. Everyone was overjoyed. Contract. Zheng Hong was slightly surprised. That's right. The duration of the contract is limited, and it's not easy to divide the gains and losses. In a short period of time, it's really hard to divide. I suggest that one sect be in charge first, and this sect be responsible for sorting out everything before dividing the contract. What do you think? Yin Chuan smiled. Overseer of a sect? Who do you think is in charge? Don't tell me it's your Dace sect. The sect master of the Shanyo sect said coldly. No, the Dace sect isn't good at this. I think it's best for the demon-controlling sect to take charge first. Yin Chuan smiled. Everyone in the hall was stunned. Whoever controls it first will have the advantage. Yin Chuan actually let go of the Life League's territory. King Yimu was also stunned. Did this meat pie fall in his lap? What do you think, King Yimu? Yin Chuan looked at King Yimu with a smile. King Yimu took a deep breath. Of course, he had to agree. If he gave a false report, it was very likely that he could take over half of the Life League's territory. In fact, he could even refuse to give it up in the future. King Yimu was about to agree. Master, you can't. Lu Gang quickly stepped forward and pulled King Yimu back. King Yimu looked at Lu Gang with furrowed brows. Yin Chuan also looked at Lu Gang with a slightly surprised expression. Master! Lu Gang shook his head again with a serious expression. King Yimu's expression changed. After all, it wasn't easy to spit out a piece of meat that fell into his mouth. He took a few deep breaths and shook his head again. No, I don't have the time to take care of it. King Yimu immediately noticed that the gazes of the sect masters around him softened slightly. Softened? King Yimu immediately broke out in cold sweat. He had almost lost his mind just now. Since you don't have the time, I think Zheng Hong was about to say something. Then let the High Serenity sect take care of it for now. Yin Chuan smiled again. Everyone was confused again. What was Yin Chuan planning? Pushing out the Life League's territory? Was he crazy? King Yimu also looked at Yin Chuan with a confused expression. Sect Master of the High Serenity sect, what do you think? I'll have to trouble you. Yin Chuan smiled. Okay, no problem. The High Serenity sect's sect master agreed immediately. Zheng Hong and the High Serenity sect's sect master frowned, but they didn't object in the end. After all, the High Serenity sect was on their side. However, They were even more confused as they looked at Yin Chuan. Could it be that Yin Chuan was scared? Chapter 351. The Hall Masters stared blankly at Yin Chuan. They couldn't figure out Yin Chuan's intention. The Life League was uprooted by Yin Chuan. According to the rules of the cultivation world, Yin Chuan had the most authority over the Life League's properties. Previously, they had discussed for a long time how to make Yin Chuan give up the authority over the Life League's properties. But who would have thought that Yin Chuan was such a spendthrift? 1/6 of the Carefree City's tax revenue was enough to nourish a large sect. Give up? Throw it to the High Nether sect? Zheng Hong was originally prepared to launch an attack, but it was as if he had punched cotton. Ha! The Day sect is indeed generous. Let's toast to Hall Master Yin. Zheng Hong laughed dryly. Great! Everyone raised their cups again. Yin Chuan smiled faintly and took a sip. Yin Chuan directly revealed the Life League's properties, making Zheng Hong's prepared speech useless. The atmosphere in the hall became awkward. Mayor, this wine seems to be of average quality, Yin Chuan said faintly. Oh, Zheng Hong didn't understand. It's a pity that it's not as good as the wine ZZ brought last time. ZZ, is that wine from your drunken Immortal Inn? Yin Chuan turned to look at ZZ. Yes. ZZ nodded. Yin Chuan looked at Zheng Hong again and said, Mayor, since the matter is out in the open, thank you for your hospitality today. I'll also take my leave. Everyone in the hall was stunned. How long has it been? 2 cups of wine, and he's leaving? Yin Chuan is leaving? This banquet is too short. Of course, everyone was still shocked by the fact that Yin Chuan had given up the Life Alliance's property. They hadn't come back to their senses yet. Leave? The sect master of the Low Nether sect suddenly said, The banquet has just begun. If Lord Tianfeng leaves now, wouldn't that be saying that we didn't treat him well? Then what do you want? Yin Chuan smiled. Why don't we get someone to join in the drinking? The sect master of the Underworld sect laughed. How? Yin Chuan asked calmly. The sect master of the Serenity sect gave a look to the people behind him. Immediately, a black-robed man walked out. I am Chen Lu, a third-generation disciple of the Serenity sect. I heard that Hall Master Yin killed 6,000 elite realms from the Sun-Moon Alliance. I would like to ask Hall Master Yin for advice. The black-robed man said. Oh, Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes. He looked at the people around him. Did they send the elite realms to test him? The Hall Masters looked at them calmly, and no one stopped them. After all, everyone wanted to know whether Yin Chuan's legend was true or not. Moreover, they could also test how powerful Yin Chuan was. Even if Chen Lu could not defeat him, the Divine Realm warriors could save him. Hua Guang. Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Hua Guang stepped forward. Tianfeng Day sect. I am an anonymous outer disciple, Hua Guang said. The Hall Masters frowned, but did not say anything. You? Chen Lu said coldly. LV5 of the Elite Realm. Hua Guang said solemnly. Chen Lu showed a hint of disdain. LV9 of the Elite Realm. Chen Lu, please. Hua Guang shouted. Come on, Chen Lu said disdainfully. Bang. Hua Guang's aura suddenly surged. Army Destroyer, stabilizing the Central Plains. Hua Guang suddenly thrust his spear. Hua Guang instantly transformed into a gigantic phantom of a ferocious general. An indomitable aura gushed forth. The long spear in his hand was imbued with the might of a heaven-tier cultivation art, capable of stabilizing the Central Plains. Although his cultivation was a little lower, his strength soared to the extreme in an instant. Chen Lu's face changed as if he saw a huge mountain pressing down on him. Chapter 352. Impossible. Chen Lu raised his sword to block the attack. Kill. Hua Guang's murderous aura exploded. Boom. Chen Lu was instantly flung out and slammed into the door of the main hall. Chen Lu spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Are you kidding me? Is this LV5 of the profound state? He is only at the early stage of the Qi state. Chen Lu had a lot to say, but he was speechless. Defeated in one move? The faces of all the hall masters trembled. They were going to test Yin Chuan and suppress Yin Chuan's arrogance so that he could keep a low profile in the future. You want to challenge my king with such strength? What a disgrace. Huo Guang said without holding back. Bastard, who told you to hurt my disciple? Another black-robed man said coldly. Palace Lord, is this your disciple? Yin Chuan said calmly. The Palace Lord's face darkened. Chun Lu represented the Palace Lord's reputation, but he was humiliated too quickly. Chun Shang, Chun Lu is not as strong as you. Don't be rude. The Palace Lord said. Yes. Chun Shang frowned and nodded. Chun Shang looked at his injured disciple and said, I am Chun Shang, a second-generation disciple of the Palace Lord. I heard that Palace Lord Yin killed hundreds of Qi State cultivators in the Demon Wind Mountains. I don't believe it and would like to challenge Palace Lord Yin. Let me, Huo Guang said with a cold snort. Chun Shang looked at Huo Guang coldly and said, I know your strength. You are close to the Qi State. You are no match for me. I only asked Palace Lord Yin to challenge me, not you. Huo Guang said angrily. I'll do it. Jiao Jiansheng immediately stood up. I said, I only want to challenge Palace Lord Yin. It has nothing to do with you, Zhu Jiansheng. Chun Shang continued. Qi State challenge? I will challenge you. ZZ said angrily. Chun Shang's face froze. Challenge, ZZ? What a joke. No, I will only seek guidance from Hall Master Yin. Chun Shang shouted again. ZZ, sit down. Yin Chuan smiled. Okay. ZZ nodded obediently. Looking at the wine in his cup, Yin Chuan sighed softly. This wine tastes really bad. Zheng Hong's face stiffened. He was angry, but he didn't say anything. Now that Chun Shang wanted to test Yin Chuan's strength, he would naturally let him do as he wished. Yin Chuan put down his wine cup and said, Chun Shang, right? You're asking me for advice? Yes. Hall Master Yin, please use your sword. Chun Shang said solemnly. Draw my sword? You should know that I don't like to fight. When I use the Jade Emperor's sword, there must be blood. If I attack, people will die. Yin Chuan said indifferently. Chun Shang's face froze. He looked at the Underworld Sect's sect master. Seeing the Underworld Sect's sect master nod, he mustered his courage and said, Even if I die, Chun Shang has no regrets. Hall Master Yin, please advise me. Ha! Yin Chuan sneered. Hall Master Yin, please advise me. Chun Shang shouted again. All right, if you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. Yin Chuan stood up slowly. Yin Chuan, ZZ said worriedly. No worries. Yin Chuan shook his head. The Underworld Sect's sect master clenched his fists. He was testing Yin Chuan. As long as Chun Shang showed signs of being defeated, the Underworld Sect's sect master would definitely save him. Yin Chuan walked slowly to the center of the hall and looked at Chun Shang, who was at the door. I'm going to draw my sword. Watch carefully. Yin Chuan sneered. Come. Chun Shang said solemnly. Yin Chuan's eyes widened and a fierce aura exploded. The emperor's will broke through the gate and rushed towards Chun Shang. In Chun Shang's eyes, he seemed to see a huge golden dragon rushing out from Yin Chuan's eyes. Chapter 353. The golden dragon roared as its dragon might soared into the sky. Once the Emperor Golden Dragon's will appeared, it was as if the heavenly might had rushed into one's mind. Boom! Chun Shang's mind buzzed as his consciousness went blank. Rumble! His mind went blank. Chun Shang was a Qi realm expert, not a strength realm mortal. Although Yin Chuan's will was strong, it couldn't shatter a person's soul like before. At most, it could only stun him for 2 breaths. However, in a battle between experts, these 2 breaths were enough to kill. Ooh! Yin Chuan stepped forward. Xing! The Jade Emperor's sword instantly cut Chun Shang in half like a puppet. Boom! Chun Shang's body exploded as his organs splattered all over the ground. His blood flowed out as he died a horrible death. All the experts in the hall were at a loss. How was this possible? Is Chun Shang crazy? Why didn't he dodge? Why didn't he move? I thought Chun Shang would dodge. Is Chun Shang stupid? Chun Shang is dead. Everyone in the hall was confused. Yin Chuan, the sect master of Shio's sect, stood up and shouted angrily. The sect master of Shio's sect wanted to save Chun Shang, but only after the battle. Who would have thought that Chun Shang would die so directly? Yin Chuan ignored the sect master of Shio's sect. After all, Chun Shang asked for death in front of everyone. He couldn't blame anyone. However, he died too quickly. ZZ, let's go. The wine here is too disgusting. Let's go to Drunken Immortal Tavern for some good wine. Yin Chuan smiled at ZZ. ZZ nodded and followed Yin Chuan. Once Yin Chuan left, Zhu Jiansheng, Hua Guang, Lu Jin, and the 7 swordsmen naturally followed. They didn't care about the others in Ashoka Hall and left directly. Everyone in the hall was left in silence, looking at the internal organs scattered all over the ground and Yin Chuan's departing figure. Zheng Hong felt as if Yin Chuan had slapped him in the face and left without a second thought. The banquet ended on a sour note. Zhu Jiansheng and the others used White Cloud to carry Yin Chuan and his group off the floating island and flew to a mountain peak in the distance. Zhu Jiansheng looked back regretfully. Marshal Uncle, are we just going to hand over the Life Alliance's assets? Zhu Jiansheng asked, feeling a little indignant. That's right, King. Why did you give it to the High Serenity sect? Hua Guang was also confused. Yin Chuan turned his head to look at the floating island and asked with a smile, Hua Guang, what do you think of this floating island? Supreme Highland, Hua Guang said after some thought. And at most 1 or 2 years, we will be living there. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Zhu Jiansheng was surprised. Don't worry, I don't care about the Life Alliance's assets. Yin Chuan shook his head and said softly. Then what do you want? ZZ asked curiously. I want the entire carefree city. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said indifferently. What? The 3 swordsmen were surprised. Let's go to the Drunken Immortal Inn for a drink. Yin Chuan smiled. Carefree Hall. After sending off King Mu and the others from the demon-controlling sect, the sect master of the Triple Serenity sect fell silent. What do you think? Zheng Hong asked in a low voice. Yin Chuan is a tough nut to crack. Bastard. The sect master of the Triple Serenity sect said coldly. Since we didn't find anything, let's wait and see. There will be plenty of time in the future. The sect master of the Triple Serenity sect said. Zheng Hong nodded. The most important thing now is the heavenly wrath from yesterday. LDU from the Great Winged Heaven School has urged us more than once. Continue to investigate. Zheng Hong said again. Chapter 354. Inside King Yi Mu's residence. King Yi Mu sat in the main seat with his disciples on both sides. Lu Gang, why did you stop, Master? Why did you stop Yin Chuan from handing over the Life Alliance's properties? Do you know how much you've caused the demon-controlling sect to suffer? Eldest senior brother, Dan Qingzi shouted. Dan Qingzi. King Yimu stopped Dan Qingzi and looked at Lu Gang. Lu Gang, speak. King Yimu looked at Lu Gang. Disciple instinctively felt that there was danger in this place, but Disciple wasn't sure. Lu Gang said, You stopped, Master, because you weren't sure? Dan Qingzi asked. Let him speak. King Yimu shook his head. Thank you for your trust, Master. On the way back, Disciple realized that this place isn't just dangerous, it's extremely dangerous. Lu Gang said, Oh, the Life Alliance's properties aren't a piece of meat, but a source of disaster. Master, think about it. This piece of meat should have been Yin Chuan's. Now that he's given it to Master, what will the Triune sect think of it? Will they allow Master to swallow it? Lu Gang asked solemnly. Will the Triune sect target the demon-controlling sect? That's right, Lu Gang said in a low voice. The Triune sect is like 3 vicious dogs against the demon-controlling sect. If they really target the demon-controlling sect, the Great River sect will just sit back and watch the tigers fight. Master, what are you thinking? King Yimu's pupils shrank. What? Dan Qingzi was confused. Destroy the sect. Lu Gang said. What? That's impossible. Dan Qingzi exclaimed. Why not? The Triune sect can't get a share of the Life Alliance's properties, but they can get 2 once the demon-controlling sect is destroyed. Why not? Lu Gang sneered. King Yimu's face darkened. But Yin Chuan gave this piece of meat to the Triyu sect. Dan Qingzi said with a frown. No, not the Triyu sect, but the Shanyo sect. Although the Triyu sect has a close relationship, there are still 3 sections. Senior brother, didn't you see what happened in the main hall today? Yin Chuan gave the benefits to the High Nether sect, but ruthlessly slapped the faces of the Nether sect and the Central Nether sect. Lu Gang said solemnly. Why is that? Dan Qingzi frowned. Sowing discord within the Triyu sect? We'll split into 3 sects. King Wild narrowed his eyes. Master is wise, Lu Gang immediately said. There was a heavy silence in the hall. Thinking of all this, everyone felt a chill run down their spines. What is Yin Chuan trying to do? Dan Qingzi asked with an ugly expression. I don't know either. However, it's best for us to bide our time and not fight for it. Let's see what they do, Lu Gang said in a low voice. This Yin Chuan isn't simple, King Yimu said in a low voice. Also, eldest senior brother, third senior brother, it's best for you to forget the grudge between you and Yin Chuan. Although the Day sect doesn't have many disciples, that's only because of Yin Tao's death. The Day sect still has many high-ranking disciples. Our demon-controlling sect can't compare to the Day sect or the Triyu sect, so we're the weakest. Now that the Day sect and the Triyu sect are fighting, it's best for us to bide our time, Lu Gang said solemnly. Dan Qingzi and third senior brother raised their eyebrows. That's right. If the 2 of you can't control yourselves, return to the sect first, King Yimu said in a low voice. Yes, master, don't worry. We will definitely control ourselves, Dan Qingzi immediately said. Chapter 355. Carefree City. On the bustling streets, large numbers of cultivators came and went. Here, all the cultivators walked on the ground, abiding by the rules of Carefree City. In the middle of the bustling streets, there was a huge 5-story restaurant. It was the famous drunken Immortal restaurant. Yin Chuan and ZZ sat on the 5th floor, enjoying the scenery of the streets and the hustle and bustle of the main hall downstairs. Some rogue cultivators sat together, chatting and singing. It was a place of great joy. Not far away, Huoguang and the rest were sitting. Yin Chuan and ZZ sat opposite each other. There were 10 jugs of fine wine on the table. ZZ poured a cup for Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan tasted them one by one. This wine is not bad. It tastes sweet, but there's a faint bitterness in the aftertaste. What is it called? Yin Chuan put down a cup. This is called Yearning Tears. ZZ explained. Yearning Tears? Yearning is sweet. Yearning is bitter. What a good Yearning Tears. Yin Chuan nodded. How does Martial Uncle know everything? I've been drinking for so long. Why can't I feel the faint bitterness? Zhu Jiansheng rubbed his nose and said bitterly. Martial Uncle is a person with good taste. Senior brother, you're drinking like a bull. Zhu Jiansheng is just a person who drinks a lot. He doesn't know wine. The 3 swordsmen interrupted. I don't know wine. Zhu Jiansheng glared. The 2 brothers started to play. While Yin Chuan was tasting the wine, there were sounds of whistling coming from downstairs. You guys don't know how powerful that pig demon was. We were about to be finished, but suddenly there was a release of arrows. 1,000 shooting sun arrows killed the pig demon instantly. Too beautiful. We have heard of so many scams. You guys got lucky. However, you haven't told us who helped you. You guys definitely didn't expect him to be Blood Demon. Blood Demon Yin Chuan. Do you guys know? The ferocious person who killed 6,000 alone in Demon Wind Mountain Range. Hearing the whistling from downstairs, Yin Chuan was slightly taken aback. He lowered his head and saw the mercenaries he had met on the way to Carefree City. The leader of the mercenaries, Mu Qianli, laughed as he drank his wine. He stared at his subordinates and continued to brag. Yin Chuan's expression changed slightly. He looked down and said to Huoguang, Invite Mu Qianli up. Yes. Huoguang quickly went downstairs. Everyone didn't understand what Yin Chuan meant, but they didn't ask. Soon, the answer was revealed. Soon, Mu Qianli walked upstairs cautiously. He saw ZZ at a glance. Mu Qianli exclaimed. When he was suddenly invited up by Hua Guang, Mu Qianli knew that it was Yin Chuan. He didn't know how to face him, but when he suddenly saw the Jinx ZZ, he immediately panicked. Greetings to Senior and Miss Z. Mu Qianli said immediately. Don't be so reserved, just stand there. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Yes, thank you, Senior. Mu Qianli stood 20 feet away. Senior, may I know what instructions do you have for me? Mu Qianli asked immediately. I heard you say that you can earn 50 inferior grade spirit stones in a month by risking your life. Yin Chuan asked. Yes. Then, how is this number among the mercenaries? Yin Chuan asked with a smile. Hearing this, Mu Qianli immediately revealed a proud expression. Senior, I'm not bragging, but my number is definitely one of the best among all the mercenaries. Many cultivators can't even earn spirit stones in a month and will even lose a lot. Oh, Yin Chuan smiled. Hee, of course. It's just that we are small itinerant cultivators and can't be compared to the Day sect. Mu Qianli said humbly. Chapter 356. Hee, if I give you 1 mid-grade spirit stone a month to hire you, would you be willing? Yin Chuan smiled. 1 mid-grade spirit stone is equivalent to 100 low-grade spirit stones. Senior, are you joking? Mu Qianli was surprised. I'm not joking. Would you be willing? Yin Chuan asked. Yes, of course. Mu Qianli said excitedly. However, Senior, I still have a few dozen brothers to eat with us. Can they? Mu Qianli said with anticipation. Looking at Mu Qianli, Yin Chuan smiled and said, How can a few dozen be enough? Then how many do you want? Mu Qianli was slightly stunned. At least tens of thousands. Yin Chuan smiled and said, Mu Qianli was surprised. It was as if he didn't believe Yin Chuan. Not only Mu Qianli, but Zhu Jianxing and the rest also looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. What kind of joke was this? Tens of thousands? Day sect originally only had 4,000 people, and Tianfeng added 3,000 at one go. Now he wanted to add tens of thousands? I'm serious. I'll have to trouble you with something. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Senior, please speak. Mu Qianli immediately said. Help me inform all the mercenary groups in the city that King of Hell's Palace is recruiting. The more, the better. Ordinary soldiers will be paid 1 mid-grade spirit stone a month. Promotion by 1 rank will be paid 10 times. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Really? Mu Qianli was shocked. Promotion by 1 rank will be paid 10 times? Wouldn't that be 10 mid-grade spirit stones? If he wanted to be promoted, wouldn't it be 1 high-grade spirit stone? Mu Qianli's breathing was a little hurried. Lu Jin, give him 1 high-grade spirit stone for operation. Yin Chuan said. Yes. Lu Jin immediately took out a high-grade spirit stone. Mu Qianli held the spirit stone in disbelief. King of Hell's Palace. Where is King of Hell's Palace? Mu Qianli asked. It's Carefree City, the original day hall. Lu Jin explained. Oh. Mu Qianli immediately nodded. 3 days later, the King of Hell's Palace will be recruiting mercenaries. The minimum requirement is 2 years. There's so many people in Carefree City. If you recruit 10,000 people, you will be rewarded with a high-grade spirit stone. If you recruit 20,000 people, you will be given double the reward. If you recruit 30,000, you will be given double the reward. And so on and so forth. Yin Chuan laughed. Yes. Thank you, Senior. Thank you, Senior. Mu Qianli said excitedly. Mu Qianli had an account in his heart. 1 high-grade spirit stone for 10,000 people. If he were to recruit 50,000 people, wouldn't that be 16 high-grade spirit stones? That was an astronomical figure that he didn't even dare to imagine in the past. Go. Yes. Senior, don't worry. 3 days later, at the King of Hell's Palace, I will definitely summon over half of the mercenaries in the city. Mu Qianli excitedly retreated. The moment Mu Qianli left, everyone started shouting. Martial Uncle, what do you mean by this? That's right, Martial Uncle. Why do you want to recruit tens of thousands of people? No matter how big your family is, it won't be enough. That's right. My king, why do you want to recruit so many people? Hua Guang didn't understand. It's time to recruit. Tens of thousands of people? Is that a lot? Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Tens of thousands of people? Was that a lot? The faces of Zhu Jiansheng and the rest turned black. What a joke. This wasn't a lot. Do you have enough spirit stones? I still have some. Zizi immediately said. Looking at Zizi, Yin Chuan smiled and nodded. Seeing Yin Chuan nodding, a smile flashed across Zizi's eyes. If Yin Chuan didn't want it, Zizi would feel uncomfortable in her heart. Hua Guang, the newly recruited soldiers will fill up the First Legion. Do you understand? Yin Chuan said faintly. Yes, my king, don't worry. 3,000 people and 30,000 people were two completely different concepts. An army of tens of thousands of cultivators. Hua Guang's heart was surging with excitement just thinking about it. Chapter 357. Day Sect, Main Peak, Great River Hall. The great swordsman rushed back to meet Feng Tairan and the three peak masters. At this moment, the hall was silent. How many days has it been? This Yin Chuan is too troublesome, Gao Bufan said with a strange expression. Recruiting? Tens of thousands of people? Feng Tianyu also had a strange expression. Mo Wu Hui did not say anything. Feng Tairan frowned. Sectmaster, this is what happened. Although this is Martial Uncle's matter, the commotion this time is too big. Therefore, I came back to report it. As for the details, Sectmaster should decide personally. The great swordsman said respectfully. Sectmaster. Everyone looked at Feng Tairan. Feng Tairan took a deep breath and said, My injuries are almost healed. Let me handle this matter. Yes. The three peak masters nodded. Let's go. I'll go with you to Carefree City. Feng Tairan smiled bitterly. Carefree City, King Mai's residence. Master, the news has spread throughout Carefree City. King of Hell's Palace is recruiting mercenaries. Dan Qingzi frowned. What a huge commotion. Lu Gang frowned. King Mai looked at Lu Gang. Master, I only guessed that Yin Chuan would play some tricks. Who would have thought that there would be such a huge commotion? Recruiting mercenaries? What is he trying to do? Lu Gang was puzzled. Second brother, fourth brother, go take a look. King Mai said to the other two disciples. Yes, master. The two of them immediately left the hall. Carefree City, King of Hell's Palace. At the foot of the mountain, a large number of cultivators gathered. Why can't I? Why does it have to be 2 years? Move aside. Don't block the way. Move aside. We still have to sign up. Move aside. A large number of mercenaries signed up. Lu Jin led 3,000 members of the embroidered uniform army and screened a large number of cultivators who signed up. On the mountain, King of Hell's Palace, only Yin Chuan and Hua Guang were in the hall. Your Majesty, it's already the 5th day. As of today, we've already recruited 35,000 people. Hua Guang said excitedly. Hua Guang was certain that he was the most accomplished person in the history of the Hua family. Tomorrow is the last day. We can probably reach 40,000 people. Yin Chuan nodded with satisfaction. Yes, almost all of these mercenaries are in the Essence Realm. The highest among them is at LV9. Hua Guang said. So from now on, you have to work even harder. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Yes, Your Majesty, please rest assured. Hua Guang said solemnly. Do you know how to deal with these people? Yin Chuan asked. Hua Guang nodded. This subject understands. I will break up the small groups and reorganize them. Yin Chuan nodded with satisfaction. Your Majesty, do you have any orders for the recruitment of 40,000 people? Hua Guang asked. Reorganize the First Legion. In 3 days, we will leave the city and head for the Demon Wind Mountain Range. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Demon Wind Mountain Range? Yao Tianshang cleansed the Demon Wind Mountain Range once and took away all the Emptiness Realm monsters and more than half of the Immortal Realm monster kings. With an army of 40,000 people, they will be able to do whatever they want. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Yes, Your Majesty, I will give you 1 year. In 1 year, these rogue cultivators will be trained well. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. 1 year? Don't worry, Your Majesty. In 1 year, there will be strict military discipline. I will maintain the morale of the soldiers. Hua Guang said with certainty. In 1 year, I will have great use for you. Don't disappoint me, Yin Chuan said solemnly. Chapter 358. Yes, I will train in the Devilish Wind Mountain Range for a year. At the same time, I promise that I will reach the Qi state in a year. I will not disappoint my king. Hua Guang said confidently. You have the army-breaking will. You will be able to reach the Qi state if you lead 40,000 soldiers to kill monsters in the Devilish Wind Mountain Range. Work hard. Our journey has just begun. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Yes, by the way, you can kill and eat all monsters except for the tiger tribe. Yin Chuan said after thinking for a while. Hua Guang thought about Miao and immediately understood. I will pay attention. Hua Guang nodded. Go and familiarize yourself with the First Legion, Yin Chuan said with a smile. Okay. Hua Guang nodded and left the hall. 3 days later, outside the king of Hell's palace, Yin Chuan stood on top of the mountain and looked down at the 40,000 soldiers. After 3 days of reorganization, the 40,000 soldiers were starting to take shape. Behind Yin Chuan stood Lu Jin, the 7 swordsmen Zhu Jiansheng, Feng Tairan, and Duan Sanshu. Looking down at the 40,000 soldiers, except for Lu Jin, they all had a bitter look on their faces. How dare you? Feng Tairan said with a bitter smile. Yin Chuan smiled and turned to Duan Sanshu. Duan Sanshu, are your injuries better? Yin Chuan asked. Almost. Thanks to you last time in the Devilish Wind Mountain Range. Duan Sanshu said with a smile. There is something I need your help with. Yin Chuan said. Oh, go ahead. Duan Sanshu said immediately. Duan Sanshu did not decline the favor of saving his life. I want you to protect Hua Guang for a year, Yin Chuan said with a smile. A year? They're going to the Devilish Wind Mountain Range. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Demon Wind Mountain Range again? Duan Sanshu's expression changed slightly. Haha, you don't usually have to do anything. In fact, the strongest experts in the Demon Wind Mountain Range are only a few at the Godly Realm. You just have to protect Hua Guang, Yin Chuan said with certainty. All right, Duan Sanshu nodded. After saying this, Duan Sanshu flew down the mountain. Yin Chuan lightly waved his hand downward. Below him, the First Legion commander Hua Guang immediately accepted the order. All troops, follow me out of the city. Roar. The army of 40,000 roared in response. Rumble, rumble. The 40,000-strong army marched out of the king of Hell's palace and into the city, heading out of the city. Wherever they passed, they turned into smoke and rolled away. On this day, the entire city was alarmed by Yin Chuan's extravagance. Everyone stopped what they were doing and observed this strange army of 40,000. Yin Chuan is crazy. He recruited so many mercenaries. Yeah, it won't be long before Yin Chuan is eaten up. 40,000 troops, 40,000 mouths. Where are they going? How would I know? While the cultivators were discussing, King Yimu, Zheng Hong, and the others waited in silence. No one could see through Yin Chuan's plan. What was the use of these low-level cultivators? An army? In the eyes of the Godly Realm experts, an army was the most useless thing. With their Godly Realm cultivation, they could take the head of a general in an army of 10,000. Once the leader died, the army would scatter. What was the point? Yin Chuan stood in front of the king of Hell's palace, watching the First Legion leave. The First Army was officially formed. Yin Chuan, 40,000 troops. That's thousands of high-grade spirit stones a year. Can you afford it? Feng Tairan smiled bitterly. That's why I came to you. But before that, I want to ask you for a few more people. Yin Chuan smiled. Oh, great swordsman, second swordsman. It's the 2 of them. Yin Chuan laughed. What orders do you have for us? Great swordsman asked curiously. Yes, Martial Uncle. If you have any orders, just say it. We will do it. Second swordsman said immediately. What is it? Feng Tairan asked curiously. Lu Jin is going to the mortal world soon. She's going to my yin state to bring some things back. Great swordsman and second swordsman will go with her to protect someone for me. It might take a few years, Yin Xuan said in a deep voice. A few years. Great swordsman was surprised. Of course, if you are tired of it, you can ask other swordsmen to do it. But you must make sure that he has 2 Qi Jing cultivators protecting him. If you go to protect that person, the Day sect will give you 5 times more spirit stones, Yin Xuan said in a deep voice. 5 times more spirit stones? Second swordsman was surprised. 5 times, martial uncle. Why don't I go? 3 swordsmen suddenly smiled. Yes, I will go. 5 times more. 4 swordsmen immediately shouted. Hee. Great swordsmen and second swordsmen are more calm and can endure loneliness. That's why I asked them. Yin Xuan shook his head. Who? Feng Tairan was puzzled. One of my officials. His name is Feng, Yin Xuan said in a deep voice. Feng Tairan looked at great swordsman and second swordsman. Sect leader, martial uncle, don't worry. We will not let him get hurt, the 2 said with certainty. Okay, Yin Xuan nodded. Feng Tairan naturally had no objections. Since that's the case, Lu Jin, go buy some things and prepare to leave, Yin Xuan said to Lu Jin. Yes, king. Don't worry, Lu Jin said respectfully. Both of you, please follow me. There are many things in Carefree City that I need your help to buy. Lu Jin smiled at great swordsman and second swordsman. Okay, the 2 followed Lu Jin and left. Martial uncle, what about us? Is there anything that we can help with? Zhu Jiansheng asked. Although they didn't know what Yin Xuan was up to, Zhu Jiansheng and the others could feel that Yin Xuan was planning something. We'll be busy from now on. Rest well. I will call you when the time comes. Yin Xuan smiled. You can leave first. I have something to say to Yin Xuan. Feng Tairan said lightly. Yes. Everyone nodded. Speak, what do you want to do? Feng Tairan asked. Standing in the square in front of the king of Hell's Hall, Yin Xuan took a deep breath and said, What do you think of Carefree City? Oh. Feng Tairan's eyes narrowed, as if he had guessed something. Yin Xuan smiled faintly. That year, your father said that he would think of a way to completely control Carefree City. What a pity. Do you also want to? Feng Tairan said solemnly. Why not? Yin Xuan smiled. Feng Tairan looked at Yin Xuan and shook his head. It's not enough. Your 40,000 soldiers are useless. This Carefree City isn't that easy to take. The 4 major sects will never give it up. Give it up? Who needs them to give it up? Yin Xuan sneered. Oh, the 3 Serenities sect forced my father to his death. I want to uproot the 3 Serenities sect, Yin Xuan said coldly. What? Feng Tairan was shocked. Impossible. The 3 Serenities sect is stronger than my Day sect at its peak. How can it be uprooted? Feng Tairan couldn't believe it. Who says I can't? Yin Xuan smiled coldly. Chapter 359. King of Hell's Hall. At a stone table in front of the hall, Yin Xuan invited Feng Tairan to sit down and explained his plan in detail. Originally, there were 6 great sects in the worry-free city. My Great River sect used to be the biggest sect. Even now, we still have 13 godly realm experts in our first generation. However, most of them are wandering outside. In the vicinity of the Great River sect, there are only me, the 3 Peak Masters, and Duan Sanshu. Only 5 people. Feng Tairan said, I understand Day sect only has 5 Immortal Realm experts. What about the others? Yin Xuan poured a cup of wine and asked with a smile. 3 Serenities sect has 5 Immortal Realm experts each, and all of them are in their own sects, 15 in total. While Imperial Monster sect has 4 Immortal Realm experts. How can my Day sect uproot them? Feng Tairan was confused. That's why I came to you. They have 19 Immortal Realm experts. Why don't you separate them? Yin Xuan laughed. Oh, I've studied the Day sect's defensive formation. Why not put it in Carefree City? Yin Xuan laughed. Put here? How can that be? That's my Day sect's most sensitive secret. Even in the sect, it's not fully opened. How can we set it up here? Once the other 4 sects figure out, my Day sect's last line of defense will be gone. Feng Tairan shook his head. Ha ha ha. No, the last line of defense? Why do we need to defend? Uproot these sects. What else do we need to defend against? Moreover, the best defense is not these formations, but strength. With strength, who would dare to invade? Yin Chuan said solemnly. Feng Tyran's eyes narrowed. He looked pensive. Day sect's defensive formation covers Carefree City. Not only us, you also need to persuade the other 4 sects to set up their strongest formations above Carefree City. Let Carefree City have the strongest defense. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Why is that? Feng Tyran was puzzled. The strongest defense is not only for external defense, but also for internal defense. When the time is right, we will surround the city and kill all the heroes. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. You want to use Carefree City to trap and kill them? Feng Tyran asked in surprise. That's right, Yin Chuan said solemnly. But Feng Tyran frowned. Don't worry, I've already buried the catalyst. When the time comes, it will draw out all the divine realm experts. Yin Chuan said with a smile. You're really crazy, Feng Tyran said with a complicated expression. Oh, but I like it, ha ha. Feng Tyran suddenly laughed. Yin Chuan's expression relaxed slightly. I know. Since you said that, you must have a plan. Tell me, what do you want to do? Feng Tyran said with a smile. The time will be about a year from now. Therefore, the first thing to do is to send the disciples of the sect to secretly recall all the first-generation disciples. We have to go secretly. Yin Chuan laughed. There are still 8 first-generation disciples outside, but we might not be able to recall all of them. I don't know where some first-generation disciples have gone. Feng Tyran said with a frown. Bring back as many as you can. When the time comes, say that the sect's survival is at stake, and they must return. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Feng Tyran nodded. The second thing is contact the sect leaders of the various sects and set up a formation for Carefree City. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Set up a formation? What's the reason? A few days ago, thunder rumbled in Carefree City, and the heavenly punishment almost fell. This is the reason. In order to better protect Carefree City, this excuse is enough. Yin Chuan said confidently. But they can't be as selfless as me. They can't possibly set up all their defensive formations. Feng Tyran said after some thought. Chapter 360. Isn't that better? Yin Chuan smiled. You're right. Ha ha. Feng Tyran laughed. But when the time comes, even with the formation, the Day sect will have a hard time. Compared to the 4 sects, we're still far behind. Feng Tyran said in a deep voice. Far behind? Hee, don't worry. I'll find a way. Yin Chuan smiled. Oh, Feng Tyran asked curiously. Well, we'll know in a few days. We'll see. Yin Chuan said. Feng Tyran nodded. Also, the spiritual stones from the Life League are only enough to support the 40,000 troops for a few months. I'm recruiting for 2 years. The rest of the spiritual stones will be collected from the Day sect. Yin Chuan smiled. I knew you were waiting here. 40,000 troops and 400 upper spiritual stones a month. This number is too terrifying. Why did you think of recruiting so many troops? Feng Tyran frowned. I have my own uses. Moreover, I think it's too little. Yin Chuan shook his head. Too little. Feng Tyran was speechless. Don't worry. After a year, Carefree City will be ours. By then, the spiritual stones won't be so tight. Yin Chuan said. Feng Tyran was speechless. All right, I'll give you the spiritual stones. Feng Tyran nodded. Sect leader, you're so generous. Let me toast you. Yin Chuan raised his cup and smiled. Feng Tyran smiled bitterly and drank with Yin Chuan. It's not that I'm generous. I think highly of you. Feng Tyran smiled. Oh, I understand. The strength of a sect doesn't just depend on experts. It also depends on people with great courage. Although you're young, I can see great courage in you. Even your father can't compare to you. I believe in you. When you reach the immortal state, I'll pass the position of sect leader to you. Feng Tyran said solemnly. Pass it on to me? Yin Chuan was slightly surprised. Wasn't a little too early to say that. Yes, I'll pass it on to you. I don't know why you've recruited so many soldiers, but I know you must have a plan. Your vision is further than mine. The Day sect will only flourish in your hands. I'll protect it for you, Feng Tairan said solemnly. Yinchuan looked at Feng Tairan and fell silent. In the end, he nodded. The two of them no longer spoke. Instead, they sat in front of the Yama Palace, surveying the entire worry-free city. Beijing, Xinglua Villa, the valley within the valley. Grandpa, demonic beasts, so many demonic beasts. Yilin shouted excitedly. Yifeng smiled and said, "Take these things and leave first. Don't disturb me." "Oh, okay." Yilin retreated excitedly. There were only Yifeng and Lu Jin in the gazebo by the lake. Lu Jin looked at a chessboard in the pavilion. "Is this the first chessboard that the king played?" Lu Jin asked curiously. "That's right. These days, I've been studying this chessboard whenever I have free time. The king's chessboard is filled with the aura of a sovereign." "Incredible," Yifeng exclaimed. "The Grand Preceptor must have been working hard these days." Lu Jin said with a smile. "It's just some trivial matters on my side." "How have you been, King?" Yifeng asked. "Of course. The king has already taken root in the cultivation world, and his name has shaken the entire cultivation world. The battle at the Demon Wind Mountain Range." Lu Jin didn't hide anything and gave a rough summary of what had happened these days. "The world of cultivators is really colorful," Yifeng exclaimed. "Yeah, the king's first army now has an army of 40,000 cultivators. These days are really like a dream," Lu Jin said with a smile. Chapter 361. Does the king have any orders? Yifeng frowned slightly. "This time, I purchased a large amount of cultivation manuals, pills, and artifacts from Carefree City. King said that you'll be in charge of everything. If possible, it's fine to spread the cultivation manuals to everyone," Lu Jin said solemnly. "Cultivate the entire population?" Yifeng's expression changed. "Yes. As for how to spread it and how to control it, it is still up to you to decide. The king said that in a few years, he will return to establish a country, so that you can be mentally prepared," Lu Jin said solemnly. "Then, when will the First Legion return?" Yifeng asked solemnly. "First Legion? The First Legion will not return unless after the establishment of the country," Lu Jin said. Yifeng nodded and his expression relaxed slightly. "Why? Is there a difference?" Lu Jin asked curiously. Here in Immortal World, there are 3 countries that are at war. If the First Legion intervenes, there is no need for me to arrange anything. They can quickly wipe out the 3 countries. However, the king did not do so. I understand the king's intention." Yifeng laughed. "What does that mean?" Lu Jin did not understand. "The king is broad-minded and far-sighted. No matter how strong an army is, it is only an army. The king is starting to cultivate a second army." Yifeng smiled. "Oh," Lu Jin's eyes lit up. "All right, what are the 2 cultivators that follow me here for?" Yifeng asked. "They're the great swordsman and second swordsman that I mentioned before. The king specially sent them to ensure your safety and protect you," Lu Jin said solemnly. Yifeng took a deep breath and bowed slightly to the north. "Thank you, king." "All right, the king has a mission for you." Lu Jin thought for a moment and said, "Oh, the former consecrator of Zheng country, Lu Gang. The king wants you to quickly gather all the information about him in the mortal world." Lu Jin thought for a moment and said, "Okay, Carefree City, City Lord Mansion, Feng Tairan, and the 4 palace lords gathered. If that's the case, then this old man will make preparations first," Feng Tairan said to everyone. Yes, everyone nodded. Feng Tairan stepped out of Ashoka Hall and flew into the distance. Zheng Hong, King Mai, Sect Master Shangyo, and Sect Master Shio all looked at Feng Tairan with furrowed brows. Is the Day sect really willing to make the mountain guarding formation public? Sect Master Shio asked in confusion. What do you think, King Yi? Zheng Hong looked at King Yi. King Yi fell silent for a moment. Then he shook his head and said, since Feng Tairan has spoken, then he must be telling the truth. However, I wonder how much of the Day sect defensive formation he will provide. My Sienyu sect definitely won't take it all out. The Sienyu sect master said coldly. It's fine as long as you know what you're doing. King Yimu smiled faintly, unwilling to speak any further. Everyone fell silent. Everyone, I'll be leaving as well. Farewell, King Yimu said with a smile. With that, King Wild Mu turned around and left. Only the sect master of the Triyu sect was left. Is there still no sign of the heavenly phenomenon? Zheng Hong asked solemnly. Elder Yu wants to know, but so do we. We just don't have any leads. Sect Master Shanyo said solemnly. Yeah, there's no news at all. Sect Master Xiaoyo shook his head. By the way, isn't it time to divide the Life League's assets? Sect Master Xiaoyo asked again. Sect Master Shanyo frowned and said, I'm not done yet. Let's wait a little longer. Wait? Wait for what? You're not thinking of taking it all for yourself, are you? Sect Master Xiaoyo's face darkened. What do you mean by taking it all for myself? I'm in charge of the statistics now. Of course, I have to be responsible for everyone. Sect Master Shangyo's expression changed. You. Sect Master Xiaoyo's expression changed. Zheng Hong's expression also darkened. All right, I'm going back first. I'll inform you when I'm done. Sect Master Shangyo said solemnly. Chapter 362. Carefree City, Purple Heart Villa. Feng Tairan gathered a large number of Day Sect disciples and began to set up a formation in Carefree City. Yin Chuan went to Purple Heart's place to relax and enjoy some wine. Is there anything I can help you with? Purple Heart asked softly. There's no need. Although it's a little complicated, I'm confident. Yin Chuan smiled. No, I know it's not that easy. If there's anything I could do, let me do it. Purple Heart shook her head. Looking at Purple Heart's resolute gaze, Yin Chuan's expression softened. All right. Yin Chuan put down his wine cup and nodded. Purple Heart's eyes lit up. What do I have to do? Let me comb your hair for you again. Yin Chuan smiled faintly. No. Purple Heart cried out. Comb her hair? Purple Heart was almost scared to death the last time. Don't worry, there's Meow. Yin Chuan smiled. Meow? Meow, who was lying in a pile of spirit stones not far away, let out a puzzled cry. No, it's too dangerous. Purple Heart said worriedly. Meow's head popped out from the pile of spirit stones happily. Big hooligan, are you going to violate Sister Purple Heart again? Meow asked curiously. Yin Chuan's face darkened, and Purple Heart's face turned red. Don't worry, if it's just a simple comb, I can stop the divine punishment. If it's more, I won't be able to stop it. Meow shook her head. What more? If you say more, I won't give you any more spirit stones. I'm going to take back the spirit stones you're lying on. Purple Heart cried out with a red face. Meow. Meow didn't say anything. Meow. Meow plunged into the pile of spirit stones again. Yin Chuan looked at Meow Meow in the pile of spirit stones with a strange look on his face. Yin Chuan realized that the little cat he had picked up was not only good at acting cute, it was also evil. Where did such a good kitten come from? King Mai's residence. In front of King Yi stood a group of disciples, each of them holding an invitation card. King Yimu was at a loss when he saw the invitation. Master, whose invitation card is it? Dan Qingzi asked curiously. King Yimu handed the invitation over. The disciples passed it around to take a look. Yin Chuan? Yin Chuan's invitation? Dan Qingzi said in surprise. The location of the visit is actually within the demon controlling sect? Lu Gang said with a frown. Master, since Yin Chuan wants to pay a visit, why didn't he come here directly? Why did he go to my demon controlling sect outside the city? Dan Qingzi asked in confusion. I don't know. King Yimu replied solemnly. Dan Qingzi thought for a moment and said, could it be to trick Master and then destroy this place? There's no need for that. There's no point in destroying it. Although this palace is big, it's just a decoration. It's not worth going to such great lengths. Lu Gang thought about it and said, Lu Gang, what do you think? King Yimu asked. Master, I think that Yin Chuan's invitation card is very polite. We should meet him. However, eldest senior brother is right. We have to be careful here. If possible, We should invite a divine realm martial uncle to oversee the situation. We'll return to the demon-controlling sect and wait for Yin Chuan. We'll see what he's up to, Lu Gang said in a low voice. Maybe he'll bring 40,000 soldiers to the demon-controlling sect? King Yimu's face darkened. No way. Everyone's expression changed. Lu Gang and Dan Xingzi will return with me in 5 days. The rest of you will stay here and pretend that you know nothing, King Yimu said in a low voice. Yes. 5 days later, amidst countless rivers, there was a mountain range shrouded in mist. Chapter 363. A large number of cultivators were gathered around as if they were waiting for something. There was a giant monument at the southern entrance of the mountain with the words Demon Controlling Sect written on it. In a forest south of the Demon Controlling Sect, Yin Chuan, ZZ, Feng Tairan, and Lu Jin stood there. Miao was lying on Yin Chuan's shoulder. Are you really going in alone? Feng Tairan asked with a complicated expression. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Yin Chuan smiled. But ZZ was worried. Don't worry, I'll definitely come out. I'll comb your hair for you. Yin Chuan smiled. ZZ nodded and said seriously, if anything happens to you, I won't let the demon-controlling sect off easy. Don't worry. Yin Chuan smiled and walked toward the demon-controlling sect. When they were close, Yin Chuan slowed down with the Jade Emperor sword on his back and Miao on his shoulder. They slowly walked toward the demon-controlling sect's entrance. In the main hall of the demon-controlling sect. In the main hall, King Yimu was in the lead, followed by 2 old men in Taoist robes on his left and right. Behind them were the disciples of the demon-controlling sect. Senior brother, how many people will Yin Chuan bring? An old man in a Taoist robe asked. I'm not sure. Thank you for your hard work, junior brothers. King Yimu smiled. It's my duty. After the battle at the Taoist Wind Mountain Range, we have to take Yin Chuan seriously. Besides, he has the support of the Day sect and 40,000 soldiers. Sigh. The old man in a Taoist robe said. Who would have thought that Yin Tao's son is so powerful? How dare he make the entire sect wait for him? The other old man in a Taoist robe smiled bitterly. King Yimu also smiled bitterly. Indeed, 3 Immortal State and a group of Qi State cultivators from the demon-controlling sect were waiting for Yin Chuan here. Report, sect leader, Yin Chuan is here. A disciple of the demon-controlling sect ran over and shouted. He's here? How many people? King Yimu asked immediately. One, just him. That demon-controlling sect disciple reported. What? Just one person? An old man in a Taoist robe asked with a stiff expression. The atmosphere in the hall was strange. One person? Come alone. Everyone was at a loss for words. Let him in, King Yi ordered in a deep voice. Yes. After the reporting disciple left, the hall fell into silence again. Alone? That shouldn't be the case. The deity realm, old man muttered. In front of the demon-controlling sect. Hall Master Yin, please. A disciple leading the way said respectfully. Even though they knew that Yin Chuan was only at the essence realm, no one dared to underestimate him. He was a terrifying blood devil who had killed 6,000 essence realm and hundreds of Qi realm experts in one night, who was not afraid of death and wanted to put on airs with him. Not long ago, in the Ahsoka Hall, a Qi realm cultivator from the underworld sect came looking for trouble with Yin Chuan. In the end, he was killed by Yin Chuan with a single sword strike, and the other hall masters were stunned. Therefore, the disciple leading the way was respectful and even a little fearful of Yin Chuan. Stepping into the demon-controlling sect, Yin Chuan saw a different scene compared to the Day sect. A large number of demonic beasts roamed around the sect. The demonic beasts were running around, and they seemed to be very obedient to some cultivators. Some cultivators were sitting on demonic cows, while others were riding demonic deer. They were running around the sect quickly. As he walked deeper into the sect, a cultivator riding a tiger passed by him. Meow, meow, suddenly cried out. Roar. The tiger stopped abruptly and lay on the ground. The cultivator sitting on it was caught off guard and fell down. You. The cultivator's face was covered in dirt, and he looked at the tiger angrily. At this moment, the tiger was lying on the ground and looking at Meow with a fearful expression. Meow! Meow called out proudly. With this call, the tiger's fearful expression slowly receded, and it bowed respectfully to Meow. The surrounding cultivators were at a loss. Even a tiger bowed to a cat these days? Of course, the defeated cultivator didn't dare to cause trouble for Yin Chuan. "Hall Master Yin, this way please." The cultivator, leading the way, said respectfully. Yin Chuan looked meaningfully at the tiger on the ground and smiled. Soon, they arrived at the main hall of the demon-controlling sect. The demon-controlling hall. In front of the demon-controlling hall, King Yimu was waiting with a group of experts. "King Yimu, sorry to keep you waiting." Yin Chuan walked over with a smile. King Yimu looked at Yin Chuan. Did he really come here alone? "Haha, Hall Master Yin, please come in," King Yimu said with a smile. Yin Chuan nodded. A banquet had already been prepared in the hall. King Yimu sat in the main seat in the north, while the rest of the demon-controlling sect sat to his left. There was only one table on the right for Yin Chuan to sit. The demon-controlling sect is honored by Hall Master Yan arrival. I propose a toast to you on behalf of the demon-controlling sect, King Yimu said with a smile. Yin Chuan nodded and toasted with King Yimu. Meow. Meow jumped onto the table, picked up a wine jug, and took a sip. "TSK, TSK. This wine tastes terrible." Meow frowned. Everyone in the hall was stunned. "It can talk. This kitten can talk. All right, Meow, stop messing around. Take a rest," Yin Chuan said. Meow. Meow sat down and took out a high-grade spirit stone from somewhere. She held it and bit it gently. Crunch, crunch. Only the sound of Meow chewing on the spirit stone could be heard in the hall. Everyone in the demon-controlling sect was shocked. High-grade spirit stone? It eats high-grade spirit stones? A disciple exclaimed. In the blink of an eye, a high-grade spirit stone was gone. Meow took out another one and continued eating. A cat that eats spirit stones? Why haven't I heard of this before? A demon-controlling sect disciple exclaimed. Meow? Who called me a cat? Meow jumped up reflexively. I. The disciple was stunned. Cat, your sister. Meow cursed. The disciple's face froze. Meow, that's enough. I'll explain. Yin Chuan shook his head. Meow Meow snorted and ignored him. Hall Master Yin? This is? King Yimu frowned. Meow, it's not a cat. It's a tiger. Don't get it wrong. Yin Chuan said with a smile. A tiger? How is that possible? Our demon-controlling sect deals with monsters. Why haven't I seen this before? A demon-controlling sect disciple frowned. That's enough. If Hall Master Yin says it's a tiger, then it's a tiger. King Yimu interrupted the disciple. Hall Master Yin, the invitation mentioned something important and insisted on discussing it here. What is it? King Yimu asked in a deep voice. Today, I'm here on behalf of the Day sect to renew our alliance with the demon-controlling sect. I came alone to show my sincerity. Yin Chuan smiled. Alliance? King Yimu's expression changed slightly. The others in the hall also had different expressions. Yin Chuan smiled and said, After my father's death, King Mai also restrained his disciples from participating in the war between the Yin Kingdom and the Zheng Kingdom. It's obvious that he was very close to my father. That's right. King Yimu nodded. Chapter 364. After my father's death, King Yi restrained his disciples from participating in the war between the Yin state and Zheng state. It's clear that he had a good relationship with my father. Yin Chuan smiled. That's right. King Yi nodded. The Day sect and the demon-controlling sect used to be allies, right? Yin Chuan took a sip of wine and asked. The hall fell silent. Yes, they used to be allies. King Yi nodded. The Triu sect, Life League, and Four Sects Alliance have 20 divine realm experts. If the Day sect and the demon-controlling sect didn't form an alliance, they would have kicked us out of the carefree city a long time ago. Yin Chuan nodded. Not necessarily, King Yi said solemnly. Yin Chuan didn't refute. He continued, The Day sect and the demon-controlling sect formed an alliance when my father was besieged by hundreds of sects, right? At that time, the demon-controlling sect turned a blind eye and allowed my parents to die in the Day sect, right? Oof. How could we have help back then? If we had interfered, our demon-controlling sect would have been annihilated. A divine realm old man on the opposite side shouted. Yin Chuan shook his head and said, I'm not blaming the demon-controlling sect. I'm here today to form an alliance with the demon-controlling sect. Alliance? Is there a need to form an alliance now? King Yi said calmly. King Yi, how strong is your demon-controlling sect in the carefree city? Yin Chuan smiled. King Yi stared at Yin Chuan in silence. It's the same if you don't say it. Your demon-controlling sect is the weakest in the carefree city, and you're the first to be kicked out. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Kicked out? King Ye's face darkened. Let me put it this way. The Triu sect was involved in the battle that killed my father. Therefore, I'm going to uproot the Triu sect when I enter the carefree city. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Uproot the Triu sect? What a joke. You? The deity realm expert sneered. Wasn't the Life Alliance uprooted by me? Yin Chuan smiled. Yin Chuan choked on his words. Did the Day sect agree? King Yi asked in a deep voice. If the Day sect doesn't agree, I won't come to you. The battle of life and death between the Day sect and the Sanyu sect is imminent. Today, we formed an alliance with the Imperial Demon sect because we want the Imperial Demon sect to express their attitude. Yin Chuan's expression gradually turned serious. The atmosphere in the hall immediately became tense. The demon-controlling sect has no intention of interfering in the battle between the four sects. King Yimu said in a deep voice. Don't interfere? How could it be that easy? Either we form an alliance, or I'll uproot your demon-controlling sect before the final battle with Triu sect. Yin Chuan glared. Hoo. The Shouja on the other side all stood up with angry eyes. Is Yin Chuan here to force us to abdicate? Yin Chuan, how dare you? The demon-controlling sect is not a place for you to do as you please. An immortal state elder shouted. So what if you killed 6 elite state cultivators? So what if you killed a few hundred chi state cultivators? You're just an elite state cultivator. I can kill you anytime I wanna. Another immortal state elder shouted. Yin Chuan, do you want to force me to kill you? King Yimu said coldly. The 3 immortal state warriors released their killing intent at the same time. Meow. Meow put down the spirit stone in its mouth and looked at the hall in confusion. Yin Chuan didn't feel uncomfortable at all. He slowly put down the cup and pulled the rope on his back. Bang! The Jade Emperor's sword suddenly loosened from his grip and flew out. Huh! The faces of the sect masters changed. However, the Jade Emperor's sword wasn't fast. It spun twice in the air and then fell to the ground. Chapter 365. Boom! The Jade Emperor's sword was thrust into the center of the hall. The 3 immortal state warriors narrowed their eyes. The name of the sword is Jade Emperor. It killed all the immortal state warriors of the Life Moon Alliance. Yin Chuan said lightly, Wow! The group of Qi Realm Masters were shocked. All the immortal state warriors of the Life Moon Alliance? All of them were killed by Yin Chuan? Immortal state warriors? How is that possible? Everyone looked at Yin Chuan in disbelief. Although many people didn't want to admit it, they had to admit that 3 of them were killed by Yin Chuan because many people had seen it with their own eyes. Many people said that Yin Chuan had cheated, so they didn't want to admit it. What about the other 2? Were they killed by Yin Chuan? The Jade Emperor's sword seemed to have cut off the arrogance of the overlords in the hall. The Jade Emperor's sword seemed to have cut off the momentum of the overlords in the hall. The overlord's Qi realm warriors were instantly cut off by the Jade Emperor's sword. King Ye's eyelids twitched violently. The overlords of the Day sect are outside the demon-controlling sect. My army of 40,000 is on its way here. King Yi, believe it or not, I will raise the demon-controlling sect to the ground today. Erase from the world? Yin Chuan's gaze turned cold. You! The overlords in the hall looked at Yin Chuan in horror. Raise the demon-controlling sect to the ground today? Raise the world? At this moment, King Yi finally understood why Yin Chuan had come to visit the demon-controlling sect. He was forcing them to abdicate. Although he knew that Yin Chuan didn't come with good intentions, he didn't expect him to be so ruthless. King Yi clenched his fists. The atmosphere in the hall was extremely tense. After taking a deep breath, Yin Chuan shook his head and said, "Of course, I came to the demon-controlling sect today with sincerity. Everyone, please take a seat." Humph! The overlord snorted and sat down slowly. "King Mai, I'm sure you're well aware that the Day sect's only enemy is the Triu sect. We used to be allies with the demon-controlling sect. There's no grudge between us," Yin Chuan said. This time, everyone listened to Yin Chuan's words. "You should know how dangerous the battle between the Day sect and the Triu sect will be. I don't want to add the uncertainty of the demon-controlling sect to the already dangerous situation. Therefore, today's matter must be resolved," Yin Chuan said solemnly. "If we don't form an alliance, you'll destroy my demon-controlling sect?" King Yimu asked with a dark expression. Yin Chuan said in a low voice, "King Mai, you should be able to sense my attitude. I didn't choose to subdue your demon-controlling sect, and that's already my bottom line. Of course, there are benefits to forming an alliance. Once I destroy the Triu sect, I can give you another tenth of Carefree City's property. Furthermore, I promise that as long as the demon-controlling sect doesn't provoke the Day sect, the Day sect will not do anything to you." "You promise? What do you have to promise?" A divine realm old man shouted. "My words are my promise. I can write it to you right now," Yin Chuan said with a smile. The divine realm old man's expression turned serious. "Most importantly, please remember that without the Day sect, the demon-controlling sect will be the first to disappear from Carefree City." Yin Chuan smiled faintly. King Yimu's expression changed. "Ha ha ha, Yin Chuan. Like father, like son. I've finally seen it for myself. I also deeply regretted Yin Tao's death back then. To be honest, it has been my wish all these years to form a new alliance. Since we've talked about it, then let's form an alliance," King Yimu suddenly said with a smile. Yin Chuan smiled faintly. In front of the demon-controlling sect, King Yimu and the others watched Yin Chuan leave with gloomy expressions. "Bastard! How dare you force the demon-controlling sect to submit to you?" A divine realm old man said coldly. Chapter 366. It's not a vassal, it's an alliance. The Day sect won't interfere with any of our decisions. An immortal state warrior frowned. "But I just can't let it go." "Then why didn't you say so earlier?" "I was waiting for the sect leader." The two immortal state warriors looked at King Yi. "Lu Gang?" King Yi called out. "Yes." Lu Gang stepped forward. "What do you think?" King Yi asked in a low voice. "Yes. Master, you pretended to agree with Yin Chuan, but I could tell," Lu Gang said respectfully. "Oh." The disciples around him frowned. "That's right. You promised Yin Chuan that you wouldn't do anything. Let them fight to the death and watch the tigers fight," the immortal state warrior said with a smile. "No, we can't do that." Lu Gang shook his head. "Why can't we do that?" The old man raised an eyebrow. "The premise of watching the tigers fight is that the tigers don't know about your existence. Now that the two tigers know about our existence, we can't just sit back and watch. Otherwise, the two tigers will attack our Day sect at the same time." Yin Chuan might be exaggerating when he said that he could flatten the Day sect today, but if the four sects attack at the same time, we won't be able to do anything, Lu Gang said in a low voice. Everyone tensed up. "Master, I can tell that Yin Chuan knew that you pretended to agree with him, but he still signed the alliance agreement with you. If we deal with the alliance agreement properly, it will be fatal to our sect," Lu Gang said in a low voice. "What's so fatal about the alliance agreement?" Someone next to him asked in disbelief. "If we don't follow the agreement, Yin Chuan will spread the news of the agreement to the Sanyu sect and arouse their suspicions. If the Sanyu sect encircles us, Yin Chuan will just sit back and watch the tigers fight. Moreover, even if we join the Sanyu sect alliance, the Sanyu sect won't completely trust us because the agreement was signed before joining the Sanyu sect alliance. In this way, when the Day sect and the Sanyu sect fight, we will only be used as cannon fodder and be the first to be betrayed. Therefore, the alliance that Yin Chuan signed is extremely sinister. Lu Gang said in a low voice. What? Why didn't you say so earlier? Dan Xingzi immediately shouted. Everyone looked at Lu Gang angrily. Lu Gang took a deep breath and said, Master, actually this disciple thinks that we can form an alliance. Because in the worry-free city, even if they don't fight, the next one to be ostracized would be my demon-controlling sect. Because the balance has been broken, there will definitely be more and more conspiracies and collisions below. King Wild sighed. Yin Tao's son is much more powerful than Yin Tao back in the day. King Wild said in a deep voice. Does that mean you agree, Master? Lu Gang's face lit up with joy. Sigh. The demon-controlling sect's foundation is still too weak. I don't know if it's the right thing to form an alliance with the Deus sect. Is the Deus sect still qualified to clash with the Triu sect? King Wild said worriedly, just as King Wild was worrying. Rumble. Outside the demon-controlling sect, the sky was suddenly filled with rolling tribulation clouds, accompanied by the sound of thunder. A vast heavenly might pressed down. Countless demon beasts of the demon-controlling sect prostrated themselves on the ground in fear. The disciples were even more shocked. Heavenly retribution? The heavenly retribution that day in worry-free city? What's that? Yin Chuan? Yin Chuan is over there. Yin Chuan led them here. Everyone looked into the distance in shock. Yin Chuan? How did Yin Tao give birth to this son? A bitter smile appeared on King Wild's face. Chapter 367. Meow. In the forest, meows soared into the sky. Hooligan, my throat is smoking. Stop combing, Meow. Meow shouted angrily. Zizi blushed as she snatched the comb from Yin Chuan's hand and stood aside. Meow. Rumble. The tribulation clouds slowly retreated. Meow. The tigers in the Imperial Monster Sect listen to you? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Of course. I am a king of tigers. All the tigers have to worship me as their boss. Meow said proudly. Aren't you afraid that they will swallow you and refine your blood to upgrade their own? Yin Chuan smiled. That's true. It seems quite dangerous. Meow's expression changed. Be careful next time. But don't worry, I will find many tigers to listen to you. Yin Chuan smiled. Meow, you are a good person. Meow immediately jumped onto Yin Chuan's shoulder to please him. Puffed. ZZ was amused by Meow. Lu Jin and Feng Tairan quickly came over from afar. Tribulation? ZZ, you are really powerful. Feng Tairan said with a complicated expression. How terrifying was the tribulation clouds just now? Lu Jin might not have any idea about it, but Feng Tairan understood that even an ordinary emptiness realm expert would definitely be finished by the tribulation clouds, let alone him. Feng Tairan looked at ZZ in shock and immediately chose to stay away. Your Majesty, is everything settled? Lu Jin immediately stepped forward and asked. Yin Chuan held a golden scroll in his hand and said with a smile, with the signatures of 3 immortal realm experts from the Imperial Monster Sect, everything is settled. Let me see. Feng Tairan took the scroll and looked at it. Alliance? Is this thing useful? Feng Tairan frowned. I'm sure King Yimu is still hesitating. Let's just wait and see. He'll come to us in a few days. Besides, thanks to Purplish and Meow, King Yimu won't be able to figure out who we really are. Everything is settled now. Yin Chuan said in satisfaction. Really? Feng Tairan was a little surprised. Don't worry. Everything is settled. Next, we will deal with the Triple Serenity sect. Yin Chuan said with a smile. All right, I will stay and help you. Feng Tairan said. Carefree City, Upper Serene Hall. The sect master of the high sect looked. How's it going? Sect master Shanyo asked. Father, the businesses that the Life Moon Alliance's disciples were originally in charge of have already been taken over by us. As long as we take care of all these businesses, we'll be able to take over half of the Life Moon Alliance's businesses, even if we divide them evenly. Moreover, no one can say anything. A man said with a smile. Shang'an, you've grown up. The sect master smiled. It's all thanks to Father's teachings. The man said respectfully. However, Father, the sect master and the city lord have sent people to urge us. They want to know when we will distribute the Life Alliance's assets. Shang'an asked. They can't wait anymore? It's fine if Yin Chuan and King Yi are here, but what are they here for? It's not like we won't give them the assets. The sect master said. Father, how much should we give them? Shang'an frowned. The sect master was in a difficult position. He thought for a while and said, We'll talk about it when the time comes. Yes. Carefree City, King of Hell's Palace. Chapter 368. Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, King Yimu, and Feng Tairan were all gathered together. King Yimu, you'll be busy from now on. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Since we've agreed to form an alliance, it's my duty to do so. But what exactly are we going to do? King Yimu smiled. The first step is to divide the Triu sect. Yin Chuan said with certainty. Divide? Use the Life Alliance's assets? King Yimu asked curiously. That's right. It's been almost 10 months. The Life Alliance's assets are almost fully digested. Yin Chuan said with a smile. That's right. The High Serenity sect is too greedy this time. I can feel the sect master and the city lord's resentment. Feng Tairan nodded. That's right. Now, we need the sect master of the High Serenity sect to spit out this piece of meat. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Spit it out? How? How can it be spat out after swallowing it? King Yimu was shocked. I want him to spit it out when he can't. Yin Chuan said with a cold smile. High Serenity Palace. The High Serenity sect master, Shang Wuji, frowned as he looked at the messenger in front of him. Hall Master Shang, the city lord has called for a meeting between the 5 palaces. He wants you to go now. The messenger said respectfully. Now? A meeting between the 5 palaces? Why didn't I know about it before? Shang Wuji asked in a low voice. I don't know. The messenger shook his head. Understood. I'll go now. At the same time, in the city lord's mansion, just like 10 months ago, all the hall masters gathered again. However, the High Serenity sect's people were not here yet. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said, City Lord, Hall Master Shang has been embezzling the Life Alliance's assets. I implore the City Lord to uphold justice. Yes, Shang Wuji has gone too far this time. The High Serenity sect master said with a frown. Zheng Hong looked at Yin Chuan and sneered. Then what do you think we should do? In order to prevent the 4 sects from suffering any more losses, I implore the City Lord to personally take over the Life Alliance's assets in the name of the Central Serenity sect. Yin Chuan said seriously. Oh, Zheng Hong was slightly surprised. At the side, King Yimu nodded and said, The City Lord is a person of virtue and prestige. I also believe that the City Lord will give us a fair distribution. Zheng Hong frowned slightly. Sect Master Xia, you also looked at Zheng Hong, as if he wanted Zheng Hong to agree. Yin Chuan opened his mouth again. I've checked. 70% of the Life Alliance's assets have been quietly taken over by the High Nether sect. If the City Lord doesn't take action, we will have nothing left. City Lord, for everyone's sake, you have to work hard. That's right, City Lord. At most, you can give us 30%. How much can we get? So what if he had a good relationship with the High Serenity sect? This property is related to the strength of the sect. Sect Master Xia Yu also advised. Zheng Hong looked at the people in the hall. Seeing that everyone was in favor of the Central Nether sect's allocation, Zheng Hong was very happy. However, his face was heavy as he said, Since everyone has agreed, then fine. The Lord of Shanyo Palace has arrived. Someone called out from outside the palace. Shang Wuji quickly walked into the hall. City Lord, everyone. What's the matter today? Shang Wuji asked. At this moment, Yin Chuan was silent. He even had a heavy expression on his face. Just now, Yin Chuan agreed to give the Life Alliance's assets to the City Lord. Brother Shang, you can withdraw your men. Sect Master Xia Yu said. What? Shang Wuji's face changed. Yin Chuan, is what you said true? Shang Wuji said coldly. Chapter 369. Yin Chuan looked at Shang Wuji and smiled bitterly. That's right. I think it's better for the city lord to do the distribution. Oomph. Shang Wuji snorted coldly at Yin Chuan and ignored him. City lord, what's going on? Why are you interfering? Shang Wuji shouted angrily. What do you mean by interfering? What's wrong with that? Isn't the High Serenity sect doing this for the sake of fairness? Isn't it the same for everyone? Sect Master Xiaoyo said sarcastically. If I didn't ask you. Shang Wuji snorted coldly. Shang Wuji turned to Zheng Hong and asked, City Lord, why are you doing this? Zheng Hong sighed. It's not my idea. It's everyone's idea. If you don't believe me, you can ask them. Shang Wuji looked at the crowd. Yin Chuan nodded, King Yimu nodded, Sect Master Xiaoyo nodded, and Zheng Hong nodded. In an instant, Shang Wuji felt like he was being isolated. Anger burned in his heart. Shang Wuji, it's all the same whether you or I get the distribution, isn't it? Zheng Hong said. Shang Wuji understood Zheng Hong's hint. He was saying that if the Triyu sect were to form an alliance, they would still benefit more. However, how could they benefit more than themselves? Shang Wuji's face was gloomy. Seeing that everyone agreed, Shang Wuji could only say helplessly, Yes, I'll listen to the city lord. At this moment, Yin Chuan said, The High Serenity sect's distribution speed is too slow. I don't know how long the Central Serenity sect will take. I think that one of the sects should help the city lord. Only then will it be fairer. Oh, everyone looked at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan thought for a moment and said, What do you think of demon controlling sect? Me? How can I do it? King Yimu shouted. Zheng Hong looked at King Yimu and said, That's good too. With demon controlling sect's help, our Central Serenity sect will have an easier time. If that's the case, then Yin Chuan will wait for the good news. Yin Chuan left. King Yimu left not long after Yin Chuan left. Only Sect Master Triyu was left in the hall. Since Shang Wuji had spat out a piece of fat meat, he must have been feeling suffocated. Zheng Hong and the Shangyo sect master naturally comforted him and promised to keep a large amount of benefits for the Shangyo sect. Only then did they send Shang Wuji away when the sky turned dark. His anger had subsided? No. Seeing that he was about to spit out the fatty meat that he had swallowed, Shang Wuji's heart was filled with anxiety. On the way out, Shang Wuji had an indescribable feeling in his heart. Something's wrong? Shang Wuji's face darkened. With a slight movement, he changed his route and headed straight for King Ye's residence. King Mai's residence. King Mai, tell me, what happened in the Ashoka Hall before I came here? Shang Wuji asked. It's nothing. King Wild shook his head, but his eyes flickered. King Yimai, my High Serenity sect, and your demon-controlling sect are good friends. I left you a portion of the Western Agarwood last time. I only want one thing, and I won't say that you told me. You have to tell me. Shang Wuji said expectantly. King Ye's expression changed as he looked at Shang Wuji. In the end, he let out a soft sigh and said, Sigh. What's going on? Why did Yin Chuan change his mind? Why did he let Zheng Hong split the spoils? Yin Chuan? Humph. He might be known as the blood demon in the Demon Wind Mountain range, but you and I both saw clearly that he was only in the essence realm. He's nothing in front of us. King Mai said in a deep voice. That's right. So what if Yin Chuan has 40,000 soldiers? There's no news of him in the Demon Wind Mountain range now. Maybe that Hua Guang ran away with his army. What's Yin Chuan to him? Yeah, actually, it was the city lord and sect master Shanyo who invited me and Yin Chuan to the Ashoka Hall first. Then, they forced Yin Chuan to agree. King Mai said. I felt uncomfortable when I looked at Yin Chuan back then. So, it was Zheng Hong who forced him? Shang Wuji's expression changed. Zheng Hong? He even schemed against me? Shang Wuji's heart burned with anger. King Mai sneered and said, That's nothing. As long as we swallow the Life Alliance's assets, our sect's strength will increase by more than half, if not twice as much. In a dozen years, as long as we have double the number of Immortal Realm disciples, anything will be worth it. Ah, Zheng Hong. Shang Wuji's eyes turned red. Chapter 370. Ah, Zheng Hong. Shang Wuji's eyes turned red. Zheng Hong was already burning with anger. Now that King Yi Mu had provoked him, his anger surged. Brother Shang, let's just forget about it. You've already agreed to it. If you go back on your words now, you'll become a target for everyone. King Yi Mu said. No, I can't take this lying down. Shang Wuji said with a gloomy face. Sigh. King Yi Mu sighed. Wait, why? Yin Chuan wants us to split the spoils? There's still room for the Central Serenity sect to distribute? Shang Wuji's mind suddenly became clear. Oomph, can't you tell? King Yi sneered. Oh, there are 4 peaks in the Deus sect. Yin Chuan is the peak master of the Heaven Peak. Now that Hua Guang has escaped with his army of 40,000, Yin Chuan is all alone. What power does he have in the Deus sect? Won't the other 3 peaks ostracize him? Why would he fight for the Deus sect? King Yi Mu sneered. Then why? He's fighting for himself. He must have waited for you to distribute the spoils, and then he would give the spoils to Miss Z. The Deus sect won't get anything from him. Instead of letting the Deus sect get involved, he might as well let you distribute the spoils. King Yi Mu explained. That's right, that's right. Shang Wuji's doubts disappeared. Sigh, Brother Shang, just accept your fate. However, the Triu sect is on good terms. The mayor will definitely give you more than me. King Yi Mu advised. No, I can't accept it. Why should I? Why should I fight with me? Shang Wuji's eyes were bloodshot. Actually, Sai, King Yi Mu, you have a plan? Shang Wuji's eyes lit up. Actually, it's nothing. Just pretend I didn't say anything. No, please tell me clearly. I will definitely repay you generously. Shang Wuji said sincerely. Yes, to be honest, the most important thing is still Yin Chuan. Even though Yin Chuan doesn't have the ability to fight for this property, he has the right to control the property of the Life Moon Alliance in name. As long as Yin Chuan agrees with Brother Shang's decision, Brother Shang will have the moral high ground. Not even the city lord can do anything about it. King Yi Mu said, That's right, that's right. As long as Yin Chuan agrees. All right, you too, King Mai. If I manage to convince Yin Chuan, you have to help me. Don't worry, I will definitely give you more, Shang Wuji said. King Yi pondered for a moment before nodding in the end. Carefree City, Purple Heart Villa, Yin Chuan, King Mai, Lu Jin, and Feng Tairan sat at the stone table in the Purple Court. Zhu Jiansheng was standing not far away. Senior uncle, Zhu Jiansheng has come to visit again. He wishes to see you, Zhu Jiansheng said with a smile. I won't see him. Yin Chuan shook his head and smiled. I've already sent him away. Zhu Jiansheng smiled proudly. You really won't see him? King Mai asked curiously. I will, but it's not the time yet. Yin Chuan smiled. I'm starting to feel lucky about my decision back then. King Mai smiled bitterly. Oh. King Mai shook his head and didn't say anything. Then what should we do next? King Mai asked. The second step is to accumulate resentment. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Resentment? King Mai asked curiously. That day, I asked your demon-controlling sect to assist the Central Serenity sect just for today. Zheng Hong must have asked your demon-controlling sect to participate in the disguise of justice. However, this is for the best. Your demon-controlling sect can create resentment for them. Yin Chuan said solemnly. What should we do? The Central Serenity sect has swallowed so many properties of the Life League. It won't be easy for them to spit them out. When the disciples of the Central Serenity sect go to ask for them back, there will definitely be a dispute. You just need to pick some smart disciples to go and make the dispute bigger. Yin Chuan smiled. Chapter 371. Oh, make a big fuss. He's fanning the flames from the sidelines, turning a small quarrel into a big fight. Yin Chuan said with certainty. King Yi nodded. Don't worry, the show is about to begin. Yin Chuan smiled. Carefree City, a bustling market. In a huge restaurant. The atmosphere in the restaurant was heavy. A large number of practitioners surrounded the restaurant. In the main hall of the restaurant, Two parties were confronting each other. Central Serenity Sect? What are you doing here? This is the property of my High Serenity Sect. The leader of one party, a black-clothed man, shouted. The other party was full of red-clothed men. Among the red-clothed men stood Liu Gang of the demon-controlling sect. Liu Gang was like a foil, watching from the side. Bastard, what property of your High Serenity Sect? This clearly belongs to the Life Alliance. You guys forcefully bought it at a low price a few months ago. The red-clothed leader shouted. Buying it means it's ours. The black-clothed leader shouted. Under the orders of the city lord, all of your High Serenity Sect members are to withdraw from this area and come back after our investigation. The property that you guys embezzled before will be nullified. Bastard, without the orders of the sect leader, we can't leave. The two parties were yelling at each other. All of them were fuming with anger. At this moment, Liu Gang, who was standing in the corner, said, "The city lord's face is not something you bunch of bastards can casually hit." Who is scolding me? The black-clothed leader rushed over. Hitting people? Bastard. Another voice shouted. Damn it. Hit. The restaurant was suddenly in chaos. The practitioners fought crazily. In an instant, the restaurant was damaged by the powerful sword energy. Boom, boom, boom. No matter how sturdy the restaurant was, it could not withstand the torment of a group of practitioners. In the blink of an eye, the restaurant collapsed, and the battle became even more chaotic. High Serenity Palace. Father, Yan Chuan still refuses to see you? Shan frowned. What bullshit blood demon, scared by Zheng Hong? Shang Wuji said with an ugly expression. Then what should we do? Shan said worriedly. Let's meet again. Shang Wuji said solemnly. Yes. Just as the father and son were talking, the sound of Jiaohu came from outside the hall. Sect Master, not good. A High Serenity Sect disciple said in panic. What's wrong? Shang Wuji asked solemnly. The people of the Central Serenity Sect chased our disciples away and beat them up. 10 of them had their legs broken, and one of them died on the way back. What? Shang Wuji's face changed. It's really tragic. Sect leader, you should go take a look. Shang Wuji quickly ran over. In a large hall, 10 disciples who had their legs chopped off cried as they looked at Shang Wuji. Sect head, you have to seek justice for us. Father, is Zheng Hong going to exterminate us? Shang said with an ugly expression. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Shang Wuji soared into the skies, flying towards the city lord manor. He landed in Ashoka Hall. Shang Wuji, what do you mean? Why did you instigate your disciples to injure my Central Serenity Sect disciples? Zheng Hong asked in a low voice. I instigated it. Shang Wuji choked, his face turning red with anger. The two of them glared at each other. Sai, the two of you, what are you doing? What are you doing? The High Serenity Sect master immediately tried to persuade them. My disciples were injured by his men. Shang Wuji shouted. Chapter 372. Your disciple? My disciple also said that your disciple attacked first. Also, why did your disciple stay there and not leave? Zheng Hong shouted. Leave? My High Serenity Sect has to leave when the Central Serenity Sect is here? Shang Wuji said coldly. Shang Wuji, Zheng Hong, calm down. How big of a deal is this? Is there a need for this? The sect master shouted. The sect master of the High Serenity Sect had noticed the unusual relationship between the two sects, so he kept trying to be the mediator. Shang Wuji flew away. However, Shang Wuji was still holding back his anger. City Lord, I think we should be careful. I have a feeling that this is Yin Chuan's scheme. The sect master of the High Serenity Sect advised. I feel it too. I will be careful. Zheng Hong nodded. Purple Heart Villa. Lu Jin reported to Yin Chuan. My king, it has been more than a month. There have been a total of 12 conflicts between the High Serenity Sect and the Central Serenity Sect. Both sides have lost 50 disciples, and 10 have died. Lu Jin reported. This resentment has already accumulated. King Yimu said with a smile. It's not enough. These are all low-level disciples. Even if they have resentment, it's not enough. However, You guys have done well this time. You actually managed to kill 10 people for you. Yin Chuan laughed. It's my disciple, Lu Gang. That kid is more ruthless. King Yimu laughed. Lu Gang. King Yimu nodded. Yeah, Lu Gang was the one who secretly dealt the finishing blow to the 10 people who died. The fire has already started. It's time to turn against each other. Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Oh, the third step is to become sworn enemies. Next, it's up to you, my day sect, and even I will do our best to cooperate with you. Yin Chuan said confidently. Sworn enemies? The Triu sect is about to be removed. Soon. Yin Chuan said indifferently. Upper Silent Hall. Shang Wuji frowned as he paced back and forth in the hall. Over the past month, Shang Wuji's hair had turned a few strands white. The conflict between the Central and High Serenity sects made Shang Wuji feel like he had been schemed against. What's going on? Who is scheming against me? There must be some conspiracy. Shang Wuji was extremely frustrated. Report. A disciple rushed into the main hall. What's the matter? Shang Wuji shouted irritably. Master, there's news from the King of Hell's Palace. Oh. One of our disciples barged into the King of Hell's Palace and saw Yin Chuan, who had just returned. He also reported to Master about your urgency. That Yin Chuan agreed. Agree? Shang Wuji's eyes lit up. Yes, he said that tomorrow afternoon he would like to invite Master to the King of Hell's Palace for a while. The disciple replied. Good. Shang Wuji finally encountered something that went smoothly. On the afternoon of the second day, Shang Wuji brought 2 disciples and hurried to King of Hell's Palace. Yin Chuan was waiting outside King of Hell's Palace. Hall Master Shang, King of Hell's Palace is simple and crude. Please don't blame me. Yin Chuan smiled. It's nothing. Shang Wuji immediately replied politely. Hall Master Shang has looked for me many times. I have matters to attend to outside. I'm very sorry. No worries. Please, I have prepared Deus Ex wine. If Hall Master Shang doesn't mind, please comment on it. Yin Chuan smiled. Chapter 373. Carefree City in a Forest. On a small hill surrounded by white fog, there were 14 figures. Feng Tairan was the leader, and behind him were the 3 peak masters of the Deus sect, Duan Sanshu, and some new faces. Sect leader, why did you summon us back in such a hurry? Is it so that the immortal state experts of the Deus sect and the Imperial Demon sect can assassinate a group of Qi and Essence state experts? One of the new faces asked. Yeah, this is too. Another man said with an ugly expression. Assassinate a group of Qi state experts? You guys came back late, so there are many things you don't know. There are 8 immortal state experts outside, and 6 of you are back. But that's it, we must do our best. Feng Tyrant said. Sect leader Feng, don't worry. The Imperial Demon sect will do our best. The 3 Imperial Demon sect experts said. Feng Tyrant nodded. Sect leader, is everything ready? Duan Sanshu asked. Yes, Yin Chuan has invited Shang Wuji to the King of Hell's Palace. Next, we will demonize Shang Wuji. Feng Tyrant smiled. Demonize? Just wait. Shang Wuji will soon become a lunatic. Feng Tyrant sneered. Then who are we going to kill? Mo Wu Hui asked curiously. Mainly these 2, Shang Dashan and Shang Un. Feng Tyrant smiled. Shang En? Shang Wuji's son, a Qi state expert. Shang Dashan? Shang Wuji's brother. One of the 5 immortal state experts of the Shang Yu sect? Mo Wu Hui frowned. Yes, Shang Yu sect and Central Yu sect have been fighting for 2 months, and nearly 100 people have died. Shang Wuji finally summoned his brother Shang Dashan to the city. This is a key person, and we have been waiting for him for almost a year. When the time comes, we will attack together and not let him escape. Feng Tyrant said. Don't worry, we have 14 immortal state experts. How can we stop him? Duan Sanshu smiled. The 14 immortal state experts were hiding in a small valley far away. Nearly 50 people from the 2 forces were confronting each other. One side was black, the other side was red. Bastards, you must get out of here today. The leader shouted. Lu Gang and Dan Xingzi were cheering from the side amongst the red-clothed leaders. "This is my Shang Yu sect's territory. Scram!" The black-clothed leader shouted coldly. Get lost? Do you think we're dogs? You want us to scram?" Lu Gang fanned the flames. "Bastard, it's been 2 months, and you've killed 10 of our fellow disciples. You bastards, I'll fight you to the death." Dan Xingzi shouted from within the crowd. Roar. Boom. "You're courting death." Boom. For a time, the two forces clashed violently again. They unsheathed their swords and took out their magic treasures. For a moment, the sounds of battle in the valley rang out incessantly. Strong winds blew, and sand and stones flew. A new round of great conflict had begun. Amidst the chaotic conflict, screams of agony could be heard. He injured Senior Brother Ma. Avenged Senior Brother Ma. 6th Junior Brother. He crippled 6th Junior Brother. Beat him up. Beat him up. The battle was extremely chaotic. Nearly 100 people in the Qi and Essence realms were fighting against each other. At this moment, 7 or 8 people walked out from the depths of the valley. The leader was a white-haired old man with bright eyes. Beside him stood Shang Yin, the son of Shang Wuji. "Second uncle, they're fighting again." Shang Yin smiled bitterly. "We can't keep dragging this out." The white-haired old man, Shang Dashin, said, "As long as father sees Yin Chuan, everything will be solved. However, the Zhongyu sect may know that the situation is urgent, so they are forcing us." Shang Yin smiled bitterly. "You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.